Jacques Villeneuve's road to a possible Indy driver's title hasn't been without its bumps. A week ago at Mid-Ohio, Bobby Rahal, second in points, punted off the track as Villeneuve's car got a little loose. Rahal pointed his finger to make the point. Today, Rahal and the others chasing Villeneuve have to make up points because the last thing they want to do is hand it to him in New England.
Players Limited IndyCar Racing. Players Limited Racing Team puts the show on the road in the PPG IndyCar World Series. Players Limited, a tradition of excellence.
Today from the beautiful 1 mile oval in Loudon, New Hampshire. It's round 15, the Players Limited IndyCar World Series here on TSN, the New England 200. And it's all brought to you by Molson Canadian. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to our coverage of the New England 200 here on TSN. Just 3 races left in this IndyCar season, and today Jacques Villeneuve has a chance to win the Drivers' Championship. Villeneuve with a 45-point lead over Bobby Rahal, and he can win the title if he finishes the day 44 points ahead of the closest second-place driver. But with 65 points remaining in the 3 races, it means that Rahal, Gordon, Unser, Andretti, Pruitt, and yes, Paul Tracy in 7th place. They all still have a mathematical chance to catch Villeneuve if he doesn't pick up another point in the last 3 races. Let's welcome from Loudon, beautiful downtown Loudon, Billy Adam. It looks like you got a great weather and a great crowd.
You know, all season long, Vic, we've complained about the tracks being too hot, too humid, too cold, but boy, today is perfect. So the drivers are going to have a really nice run out there.
And those 7 drivers that are, competing for the championship, realistically, though, you have to think it's only Rahal and maybe Gordon that have a chance of catching Villeneuve.
I think so. To go on probabilities, you do have to look at the finishing record of these drivers. And it would take almost hell freezing over for the thing that we don't want to talk about to happen, that being Villeneuve's failure at this point in the season. Realistically, he does look like he's a lock-in for the title, but what he has to avoid now at all costs is not becoming overconfident and keeping this level of intensity. It's very important.
Bill, we'll talk with you as we go through the next half hour, getting you ready for the New England 200. Now, at one time, they were partners. Now they are rivals on the track, and sometimes bitter rivals. Car owners Barry Green and Jerry Forsyth, both with Canadian drivers and Players Limited money. Green with Jacques Villeneuve in IndyCar racing, Forsyth with Greg Moore and Claude Bourbonnais in Indy Lights. And as Bill tells us, it'll be interesting to see where the drivers and the money go next season.
It is ironic that the departure of Jacques Villeneuve to Europe will significantly affect the 2 men who originally brought Jacques to North American racing. Jerry Forsyth and Barry Green helped develop Jacques Villeneuve through their 1993 Atlantic team. In his first year of North American open-wheel racing with the Forsyth Green team, Villeneuve quickly adapted to Atlantic racing, becoming fast almost immediately. In 1994, Forsyth Green brought Jacques Villeneuve to IndyCar. This continued a partnership that developed such drivers as Al Unser Jr. and Bobby Rahal with Gallus Craco, Michael Andretti with Craco, and Teo Fabi with Forsyth Inc. between 1983 and 1992. Forsyth Green succeeded in 1994, helping Jacques achieve 1 win and Rookie of the Year in his first year of Indy. The 1995 season saw Forsyth and Green splitting up, with Barry Green continuing with Villeneuve and Players Limited IndyCar team, while Jerry Forsyth guiding the Players Limited Indy Lights team with Greg Moore and Claude Bourbonnais, and his own IndyCar team with driver Teo Fabi. Team Forsyth have dominated Indy Lights, with Greg Moore having already clinched the championship, while Team Green has won an Indy 500 and has led the IndyCar championship almost all season. But the announced departure of Jacques Villeneuve significantly changes Team Green's plans for 1996.
Well, I mean, the big challenge for Barry Green, of course, is to raise a sponsorship to run another driver in another car at the same level that we've been running the Players team, and that's a big challenge, especially this late in the season. We had been working hard on putting together a second program, a second car for next year to run alongside Jack. So we're well down the road with some sponsors, but still a lot of work left to do.
With the departure of Jacques Villeneuve, Players Limited have many options for 96. One obvious one is Greg Moore's move up to IndyCar. Greg has broken every record in Indy Lights, and at 20 years old, seems a strong bet for success in IndyCar. Greg has a personal services contract with Forsyth Racing, so if Moore is to move up to IndyCar in Players Limited colors, it will be with the Forsyth Racing team.
There's no plans yet, but you know, testing, Claude Bourbonnais, myself, and David Empringham all get to test the Forsyth IndyCar at the end of the season, you know, just after Laguna Seca, the last race. So you know, that's my immediate future.
So it would appear that both Team Green and Forsyth Racing are now viable options for Players Limited future in IndyCar. Team Green has a highly successful team and a proven record in IndyCar, while Forsyth Racing have Canada's next big IndyCar star in Greg Moore. So now the two men that shared so much success together around Jacques Villeneuve now compete to fill the void left by his departure.
Yeah, it's interesting, Bill. There is only so much money around, and we do have some very talented drivers moving up, or hoping to, in Greg Moore and David Empringham.
Well, there's a lot of talent in Canada, and of course there always has been, but I really do find it quite disturbing what has taken place with Jacques. I mean, he has basically matured over the last 3 years with the help of Barry Green, which is not inconsiderable. I hold Barry Green with the utmost highest esteem. I think he is the best in the world. He has matured with the help of Barry, with all the guys in the crew, and I almost found it unbelievable that he would go ahead and make this decision without even letting Barry and the crew know. I mean, he sprung this as a total surprise. So that took a lot of my respect away from Jacques. I think he may have been perfecting his talents on the track, but he certainly needs to handle people better.
You know, I think everyone will admit it came as a total surprise, and while he denies it, our information is that there was, for all intents and purposes, agreement with Players Limited and with Jacques on a 96 season. One rumor that's flying around now here is that Barry Green could hook himself up with David Empringham. Are you hearing that?
I have heard that, although right now I think it's just a rumor. I asked Barry about any future, and he said he's searching.
Thank you, and we will talk with you, of course, as we go along. Coming up, the New England 200 from Loudon, New Hampshire. When we do come back, some surprising names dominate qualifying.
Players Limited, with its proud tradition of supporting the finest in motor racing throughout Canada, presents A History of Racing Excellence.
It was one of his most noticeable attributes. When Gilles Villeneuve stepped into his office, the focus was intense, the concentration immense. It was cold, windy at Ile Notre Dame in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix 1978. Gilles had qualified on the third row of the grid in the inaugural race at the brand new circuit. In the rain, Villeneuve had no equal. He overtook the Williams of Alan Jones, the Wolf of Jody Scheckter to put him second behind Jean-Pierre Jarier. And then when Jarier was forced to retire on lap 49, Villeneuve took the lead for good. Gilles Villeneuve, his first ever Formula One win, and did it here in Canada.
From legends of the past to legends in the making, Players Limited, a tradition of excellence.
In the PPG IndyCar World Series, you need a great team behind you to be a winner. A leader in Canadian motor racing, Players Limited continues this proud tradition by sponsoring 1994 IndyCar Rookie of the Year Jacques Villeneuve and the Players Limited racing team in the PPG IndyCar World Series. The ultimate test of man, machine, and team. Players Limited, a tradition of excellence.
Hi, a kid in high school wrote to me from detention. I only have a Snapple iced tea to pass the time. Signed, suddenly caught talking. Poor guy.
Hey, excuse me, is Jeff here? Thanks for your letter, Jeff. Here's some iced tea to pass the time. But remember, nothing takes the place of a good education.
Grab some Snapple, man. We didn't know we could write this well.
It might just be the best stuff on earth.
Welcome back as we head toward the start of the New England 200 from Loudon, New Hampshire. And it's the final oval race of this IndyCar season. You know, Nigel Mansell loved this track, saying his win over Paul Tracy in '93 was the purest form of racing that he had ever done. And they were ripping off some record runs in qualifying, as Bill Adam brings us up to date now.
The oval at Loudon, New Hampshire is a pure oval in every sense. 2 fast straights and 2 long banked corners. And let's take a look at it. As we come onto the front straight under the checker flag right up there, look up ahead and try and pick out where you would turn into the corner. Visibility very difficult on these tracks, as is the spot where you start feeding in power. Let the car run right up against the outside wall. Once again, try and pick out your spot to turn in. Bobby Rahal barely touching the brakes. He just takes off a little bit of speed going into the corners, and then it's back full throttle out of the front straight. Listen to the deceleration. You can see he carries acceleration right into the corners before getting on the brakes. Almost trail braking, except you never want to get an IndyCar sideways. Once more down the back straight. In through the banking one final time, feeds full power onto the front straight up to the wall to complete our 2 laps here at Loudon. Saturday's single car qualifying was expected to be a battle between Robbie Gordon and Scott Pruitt, who both broke the track record in Friday practice. Michael Andretti was the first car out. He ran a disappointing time of 22.093 and was very unhappy about the track condition.
No, I was really disappointed with the early draw because they ran modified stock cars right before qualifying, and the track was really slippery. And it's really a shame that they do that, because between the last practice and qualifying, there shouldn't be any race cars on the track. So it's an even for everybody. And you know, the early draws, all of us guys that went out early just are going to definitely suffer for it.
The next car out was Brazilian Andre Ribeiro. The Honda has shown great speed of late, and Ribeiro stunned everybody with a new track record of 21.466.
Well, it's great. I think the team deserves this. Honda, Firestone, they have been doing a fantastic job with us. So really, I think this pole is for the team, for the engine, for the tires, and for our sponsor LCI.
Jacques Villeneuve, the series point leader, has struggled all weekend and could only qualify 15th.
Last year we had a terrible weekend. We didn't even do a lap. There was a crash at the start, and this year so far it's not been going great. So no, that's probably not the oval we like the most. But we've made some progress from yesterday, and you know, it's looking better. So no, I think it's going to be okay for the race.
Robbie Gordon was expected to better Ribeiro's time, but found his Reynard loose, but did manage to qualify 4th. Teo Fabi was the next driver up, and he did not disappoint, posting a time of 21.498, placing him on the front row.
No, I think this weekend we really worked to have a consistent car, and I think it showed today. You know, my car didn't change too much from morning practice to the afternoon, so we are very confident that we have a good race car.
Scott Pruitt, who has been fast all weekend, joins fellow American Robbie Gordon in the second row, posting a time of 21.506.
Yeah, well, a lot of it is, you know, Firestone's just done a fabulous job with the tire. All the, you know, super speedways, the 1 mile ovals we run on, street circuits we've run very, very strong. A little disappointed because we had enough car to put it on a pole, but I was just looking at the straight line speeds, and we're about 5 miles down to the Honda, so they really turned it up for qualifying.
So the top 5 were Ribeiro, Fabi, Pruitt, Gordon, and Christian Fittipaldi. Paul Tracy was 14th and Jacques Villeneuve 15th.
Boy, there really is a big difference in speed between those first 3 of Ribeiro, Fabi, Pruitt, and then the rest. Paul Tracy, my goodness, he's 6 miles per hour slower. Jacques Villeneuve, nearly 7. And you really can't take any setups from the other ovals when you consider it's Indianapolis and Michigan, Phoenix, Nazareth. You might be able to gain a little bit of information from your setup at Milwaukee because it's the closest, but Milwaukee really is dead flat. Now, this week we got confirmation it will be Williams, who Jacques Villeneuve will drive for when he jumps to Formula One racing next year. There will always be some second guessing about whether Villeneuve is ready or not. But if you ask former world champion Emerson Fittipaldi, there is no question.
Since his entry into IndyCar racing in 1985, Emerson Fittipaldi has been one of the names most closely associated with the North American open-wheel racing scene. Through his 10 years, he has been series champion twice, won the Indy 500 twice, and has been one of the driving forces behind a series that has seen more than a few changes.
Well, I think, Bill, the most significant change is for safety. I think the cars now are so much safer than they used to be. The cockpit, the construction, and the cornering speed are incredible now compared to 10 years ago. And every 2 or 3 years they change the rules, trying to slow down the cars through the corners, but immediately next year already picking up even more. And that's the situation what happened this year.
Perhaps one of Fittipaldi's greatest accomplishments has been making IndyCar an international series. His success has been responsible for a new generation of fast young Brazilians who have now entered IndyCar 10 years after his first race here.
Definitely, Emerson always did a fantastic job promoting the motorsport in Brazil. He's the real hero there for all the other racing drivers. Everybody looked to him and thought, when we were kids, we want to be a racing driver.
But being the oldest driver in IndyCar, there are constant rumors about his retirement from driving. His problematic 1995 season has fueled those rumors.
Well, it's very difficult after you go through a very tough period of things going wrong. You just have to be strong enough to recover and go back again on the cockpit and be positive and try to do the best.
But it is love of racing that will keep Emerson involved for as long as he can remain competitive.
Well, I think, Bill, is the love that I have for the sport, the passion I have, it gives me the motivation to be competitive and to be quick. And that's the only thing that keeps me here. And I think the risk is a very calculated risk. And I know, and I had many friends that I lost driving the street, airplane crash, on different type of accident. And racing, the last 20 years have been incredible improve of safety. That's why I feel much safer racing now than 10 years ago.
Yeah. While nothing is certain about the '96 season, it appears Fittipaldi will remain with Team Penske for his glorious return to Brazil for their first ever IndyCar race, bringing his contribution to IndyCar full circle.
Yeah, Billy, I think that's probably his crowning glory, isn't it? To go home to Brazil and then on an oval of all things.
I am absolutely sure. It's like a Formula Atlantic driver to win at Trois Rivières. That's the best. Well, for Emerson to win at home, there's nothing more for him. That is it.
When we come back, well, the silly season got an early start in Formula One racing, but for drivers looking for work in '96, finding a ride is no joke for them. We'll talk fact and some rumors right after this.
Freedom. Independent. What it is, it is.
Hi from Snapple. An iced tea drinker from Atlanta writes, are your commercials for real or are the people just actors? Ask them yourself.
The detention guy, yeah. Come here.
That's the only good thing that ever came out of New York. Snapple.
Come here, Shane.
So you don't think the people are real? Well, we're real, Luther.
I believe you now.
It might just be the best stuff on earth.
I'm a real person.
Well, let's see now as we get ready for the New England 200. Villeneuve is gone, so who takes his place with Team Green? Will there be Team Green, for a matter of fact, or could he wind up running a rumored third car for Roger Penske? If you want rumors, well, then you've come to the right place.
Well, as we get down to the end of the 1995 IndyCar season, we come to the excitement, the time that is built up for the silly season, the season of who goes where and who's on first, and, well, we don't know. But to bring you TSN's version of the National Enquirer, let's take a look at the Adam version of almost the chalk talk. First of all, Villeneuve, as we all know, is no longer going to be part of the PPG IndyCar series, and he is gone. So, Team Green, they don't exactly know what they're doing right now, but there's a good possibility that Barry Green will join Team Penske next year. Al Unser Jr. will stay, Emerson Fittipaldi will stay, and of course, they have a third driver coming in, that being Canadian Paul Tracy. Now this leaves a gap with Newman Haas Racing. They can fill this up by taking Christian Fittipaldi away from Derek Walker Racing. So Christian joins Michael Andretti on this team. Robbie Gordon, he's not really sure exactly what he's doing, so he's going to go out shopping, and he's taking a look to see what's available. So Robbie, he disappears in the sunset too. Another split taking here. Ray Hall is splitting up with Carl Hogan. Bobby Rahal will run his own team. Carl Hogan will run Raoul Boisel. 2 teams now. And the final shocker, Jerry Forsyth may get the players' money to run Teo Fabi and run back over here, Canadian Greg Moore. Now we'll take a look back down here. Robbie Gordon has left, Christian Fittipaldi has left, Derek Walker does have a very good friend in Scott Goodyear. Scott Goodyear may make a resurgence with the man who brought him so much fame and fortune to start with. And another fella, Scott Pruitt, well, he may even leave Pat Patrick and go, you know where? I'm going to tell you. How about not on the ground, but with Penske Racing? This is a possibility right now. Now, Newman Haas, one more thing may come into play here. There are rumors Nigel Mansell. You believe him? Nah, we don't want that back. And then, of course, there's this guy. This guy always shows up to take his place in the sun and to mess up all of our predictions.
Nice penmanship.
You like that, do you?
I did, I really did. You know, I tell you what, here's one I'll throw at you. We talked about it earlier, David Empringham. Maybe with the new Toyota team coming from Toyota Atlantic, maybe bringing some Canadian Tire money with him. Is there a possibility of that?
There is a possibility of that, and I think that would be a great step for David because he'd be moving in as almost a test type of driver that would give him all of the time necessary to acclimate to this type of car.
And then, of course, there are the Formula One drivers, including J.J. Leto, who have been sniffing around. I would think they may come before Nigel Mansell.
I would think so, too. I think Nigel really has more than outstayed his welcome, as well as maybe they can't get a car to fit him any longer. Who knows? There are a lot of drivers who have been running at the back part of the pack in Europe. Well, to come over here and suddenly be a star, it's not just money. It's a lot of ego involved. That could happen, Vic. Hey, there's room for you and I.
You ever can tell. I don't think they make 2-seaters anymore, Bill. So Damon Hill knows he will have a new teammate next season at Williams. David Coulthard is looking for work, while world champion Michael Schumacher, Jean Alesi, they just actually traded teams, Benetton and Ferrari. It all overshadowed last week's very important race in Hungary, part of the Molson Canadian Report. It was a clean start for the pole sitter, Damon Hill, on a terrific racing day in Budapest. Hill's teammate David Coulthard doesn't find the right line, and Michael Schumacher, the world champion, takes advantage and sweeps around to second. A scary moment for Taki Inoue. His car out of the race, now watches the marshal's car approaches, and Taki finds himself in the way. Thankfully, he was okay. Michael Schumacher bearing down on Hill for first place, tries to go around, but Hill closes the door. Schumacher not to be heard from again because with 2 laps to go, the Benetton Renault dies. Schumacher out of the race, more importantly, does not pick up any World Championship points. Damon Hill takes the checkered flag in Budapest, followed by David Coulthard, as it is a 1-2 finish for the Williams Renault team, and it tightens up the points race. Next week, they will be in Belgium. Schumacher's lead is down to just 11 over Damon Hill. This racing report on TSN has been brought to you by Molson Canadian.
Fittipaldi, Unser and Tracy, Villeneuve. Players Limited continues its leadership in Canadian motor racing by sponsoring Road America 200 winner Jacques Villeneuve and the Players Limited racing team in the PPG Indycar World Series, the ultimate test of man and machine. Players Limited, a tradition of excellence.
Hi, John Reese from Dunwoody, Georgia writes, I love Snapple. I want to know if you have a mascot, and if not, could I be it? All right.
If he wants to be a mascot, he has to train hard, he has to be physical. Just wearing a costume is a lot of work because the head might be too heavy. You have to have an attitude to be successful, to be great. You have to have an attitude to be a mascot. We're proud of you, John.
Thanks.
The fans are literally falling into Loudon, New Hampshire for TSN's coverage of the New England 200. Welcome back. We're moments away now from the green flag. Bill Adam, there is a remarkable difference between the first three drivers and the rest of the field. 3 miles per hour difference between Ribeiro, Fabian Pruitt, and then Gordon.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, there's something that's awfully impressive here. Not only the Honda power, but I think the Firestone tires. They may be coming on a lot faster than anybody had expected. And even Goodyear have kind of countered a little bit by coming out with a softer qualifying tire. But spectacular qualifying jobs by all three drivers. Michael Andretti said the track was garbage, and yet the next car out was Ribeiro, so it wasn't too bad.
Tell you what, disappointing performances by the two Canadians. Tracy has finished here second 2 years in a row, and Villeneuve is the leading point getter on all the ovals combined, yet they've had their problems.
I don't count them out. I mean, Paul Tracy always seems to get fired up when the race starts, and of course Villeneuve with Barry Green. We saw what happened at Cleveland when he admittedly did not have a great race car, but hung in there and through some very canny driving, snuck out a win. He could do that again today. You
betting on Ribeiro to have the car to win it all the way? Because, I mean, he has had some bad luck, and the car hasn't always been the best.
He has had dreadful luck, and I certainly think he's due, but I don't think it's going to be today. I'm going to go with Scott Pruitt and the Patrick Racing car. I think Firestone tires, Scott Pruitt's confidence level, everything combined, I'd go with him.
Hey, listen, Scott Pruitt, of course, winning that wonderful race at Michigan over Al Unser Jr. Bill Adam, thank you very much. We'll hear from you throughout TSN's coverage of the New England 200. It is Andre Ribeiro, Honda powered, on the pole in record qualifying speed. Paul Tracy, 14th. Jacques Villeneuve, 15th. Enjoy the race.
The guy is a myth, man, a myth. No one saw his face.
It was as if the lights dimmed just for him.
No one knew his name.
I know who you are. I'm a sinner.
They thought he didn't exist.
Well,
they were wrong.
Let's play.
Antonio Banderas, Desperado, at theaters Friday.
Building, blocks of time passing by, biographies of unforgettable characteristics and stones bouncing off a backbone buried deep in your own backyard. Why? Because I am.
A mile in 20 seconds? What's it like?
It's fast, close, tight.
Great racing, lots of passing. Anything can happen.
It was really tough.
Very treacherous.
And we call it in the business a bull ring.
And down below, there it is, the ring.
New Hampshire International, and we're here in Loudon, New Hampshire for the New England 200, the last oval of this 1995 PPG IndyCar World Series season. Hello and welcome. I'm Paul Page. This is the day that could begin to determine the championship. It is the first opportunity that Canadian Jacques Villeneuve may actually score his championship so long awaited. In the points right now, he obviously is well ahead. If he can leave this race with a 45-point difference over any competitor, he leaves this race as the champion. But can he do it? Is it really that easy? Not here at Loudon, because things happen fast, they happen quick, and anything can happen. Take the start just last year as they came down for the green flag. Everybody went everywhere, but most notably, Jacques Villeneuve ended up against the wall, and it was a pointless day for him. And today he starts in 15th position. That's the worst start that he has ever had in his IndyCar career. So for him, today may be an uphill battle. But there are some great stories here today, too. Let's go trackside and Gary Gerald.
Paul, no question, we've got the ingredients for another absolute whirlwind on this bull ring when you consider only 1 second separates the top 20. And who's on the pole? How about the rookie from Brazil, Andre Ribeiro, the 9th different pole winner this year, the 2nd rookie to do it, Honda-powered Firestone tires. He was sensational at nearly 178 miles per hour. Looked like he had it locked up, and then all of a sudden, late in the session, there came the veteran from Italy. His name, Teo Fabi. He came within 3/100ths of a second as he put his Ford Cosworth power Goodyear tire machine right here alongside on the front row. Tremendous speed on 1 lap. Now they've got to do it for 200 laps with 24 challengers right behind them. So you got the youngster from Brazil up front, you got the veteran from Italy alongside. Where are the Americans, you're saying? Right behind us in row 2, and Jan Beekes is there.
That's right, Gary. On row number 2, we have 2 of the hardest charging drivers here on the circuit, both Americans, however, with different engine, tire, and chassis specifications. First of all, Scott Pruitt, of course, Firestone tires, Lola chassis, Ford power. We know how much he loves the ovals after winning the Michigan 500. Now, right next door, the ultra-aggressive Robbie Gordon with a different package again, Goodyear tires, Reynard chassis, and a Ford power plant. Now, we know Robbie Gordon loves to go to the outside here on a 1-mile oval. You think maybe in turn number 1 he might think about going to the outside of Teo Fabi? We're only moments, Paul, from finding out.
And then there's the ovals themselves. Derek Daly, when drivers first come to an oval, they're scared to death. And then they decide that they really like them.
And you know, the strange thing is, no matter how many times you come to the same oval, they continue to be scary because of the sheer speed you have to run between these concrete walls and be mistake-free. But if you get a car to handle well, you will not have a better afternoon's racing than on a 1-mile oval.
And to win, the key is aggression?
Oh, aggression is rewarded here so much because these corners are relatively tight for an oval, which means the driver can contribute greatly by hustling the car. But aggressive moves inside or outside can make huge differences here, as we saw in '93 in that titanic battle with Mansell and Tracy.
Now, when we're talking aggression, though, that's something normally in a veteran. Our pole sitter, Andre Ribeiro, his first ever pole.
And the veterans you mentioned, let's just pick 2, Michael Andretti and Paul Tracy. They're well back down on the grid, but they are so good in aggressive racing situations during the race. But Ribeiro, now, no matter how much talent he has, let's face it, we cannot expect him to have the confidence or the experience or the aggression level to run in traffic as well as these veterans. So I believe he will get a lesson in racetrack management this afternoon.
All right, well, the command to start engines has just rung out. Andre Ribeiro sits there on the pole, Teo Fabi to your left, as the balloons fly, and when we come back, we'll be ready to race.
Today's race is brought to you by Molson Canadian.
Building, blocks of time passing by, biographies of unforgettable characteristics and stones bouncing off a backbone buried deep in your own backyard. Why? Because I am.
There's one name these drivers turn to for the quality parts that give their vehicles the edge they need to perform and win. The same name you should turn to for the only parts guaranteed to perform in your Chrysler vehicle. Authentic Mopar parts, available from your Chrysler Canada dealer. Get real. Get Mopar.
Earlier today in New Hampshire, Indy Lights and Claude Bourbonnais returned for his first race after recovering from injuries suffered in a wicked crack with the wall at Nazareth. Greg Moore looking for a record-tying 9th win of the season. Starts row 2. Paul Tracy, of course, with the record of 9 in 1990. Bourbonnais outside row 3. Robbie Buell on the pole in record qualifying time, but both Moore and Bourbonnais start to move up quickly, working their way through the field. Greg Moore in his number 99 has already clinched the Indy Lights Championship. Did it at Cleveland after only 9 races. Looking to win 2 of the last 3 to beat Tracy's record. It was all Players Limited Team finishing 1-2 as Greg Moore ties Paul Tracy's 9 wins in a single season. Claude Bourbonnais, what a return, finishes 2nd. Robbie Buell 3rd. That was earlier today in New England. As we get ready now for the New England 200, the final oval race of the season, Andre Ribeiro in a Honda-powered car is on the pole.
Teo Fabi will be alongside. This is his 3rd front row start of the year. In the 7th row, Scott Pruitt, and it equals his best ever for the Michigan 500 winner. And outside, it'll be Robbie Gordon. He won easily this season on the 1-mile oval at Phoenix. In row 3, Christian Fittipaldi has 4 top 10 finishes in 5 oval races this year. And Jimmy Vasser, he's finished in the top 10 in both of his previous Loudon starts. The 4th row, Mauricio Guzman, one of only 2 drivers to be running at the finish at every oval race this season. And Gil DeFerrin, his best finish came on the oval at Milwaukee. In row 5, Michael Andretti. The Toronto winner has a 2nd and a 5th in his 2 previous starts here. And Adrian Fernandez, he's finished every race since Indy, and all of them in the points. In row 6, it's Brian Herta and Juan Manuel Fangio. In row 7, Raul Boisel, who is starting in his spare car after a crash in the morning warm-up, and Paul Tracy. And Jack Villeneuve in row 8. Only one of his 5 career wins have come on an oval, and Emerson Fittipaldi will be alongside. Row 9, Al Unser Jr. and Eddie Cheever. The 10th row, Alessandro Zampedri and Bobby Rahal, the winner of the first IndyCar race here. Row 11, Marco Greco and Carlos Guerrero. The 12th row, Buddy Lazier and Stefan Johansson. In row 13, Eliseo Salazar and Hiro Matsushita, who starts last because he was underweight and his qualifying time was disallowed. And here today, 200 laps with the fuel windows starting at about lap 62, extending through 69. And take a look at that one fact. The top 20 are separated by less than a second. There is the breakdown in today's field, chassis and engine. So we're ready to go. Honorary starter here today, somewhat hidden at the moment, but it's Richard Lugar, the senior senator of Indiana, who was mayor of Indianapolis for many years and certainly knows and understands and loves his IndyCar racing.
And we saw the accident last year. One of the problems here in New Hampshire is cold tires. These cars have 800 horsepower that tends to break away these rear tires. Boesel crashed this morning and Johansson crashed in practice on cold tires. So watch the start.
Already the PPG pace car cycles off on the backside of the circuit. This is turn 3 as Andre Ribeiro, the rookie pole sitter and track record holder now, brings the field through the 3rd turn into turn 4, begins to pick up the pace, watching for that green, and here we go. Teo Fabi immediately jumps into the front. Robbie Gordon coming up to challenge on the outside. Field safely through 1 and 2. Screaming down the backstretch, it's Teo Fabi. And we've got an accident coming off of 2. Accident off of 2. Fernandez was the guy involved last year as well. Car badly damaged on the left side.
This is Adrian's 2nd big crash of the weekend here. On Friday, he was the 2nd fastest car in practice, and he had a very, very big crash coming off turn 4. So we mentioned it not 15 seconds earlier. Cold tires on the first lap of these races. These cars are very difficult to handle.
could actually listen as the safety crew asks, is he all right? Apparently a nod to the affirmative.
When you hit these concrete walls this hard, sometimes the driver gets dazed. He is quite happy to sit there. He's quite happy to sit there and wait for these experienced safety crews to get to him.
Well, appears he's all right as he starts to climb out of the car. There's Rick Gallis, the car owner, and the remainder of the crew as they take a look to see what happened. Adrian's okay and walks away. Derek, here's the way it's set up.
Coming off turn 2, you can see he loses it by himself. And once you get away, once the car gets away from you here, it's a one-way ticket to the hard, unforgiving concrete wall. And although that car may not look destroyed, it is very, very heavily damaged. You see him down on the inside, bottom of the picture. We can take a look from our in-car camera. We've been over his shoulder all weekend here. Here's turn 1.
Just snapped around quickly on him.
You could see he made it around turn 1. Then these are tight corners here, but he makes it around turn 1, gets wide. The back gets away from him all by himself. And when that happens, these concrete walls do an awful lot of damage to these Indy cars.
Only about 7 very lucky drivers right behind him. Look right in the middle of the frame there as he loses the back end and takes a very hard hit with the wall. His second of the weekend. And this morning warm-up, that's where Bassell got into the wall as well. Let's go to Gary Gerald.
Rick Gallis, this has been a very, very difficult weekend, and it really puts a damper on what had been a terrific second half of the season for this team.
Yeah, Gary, we're just unfortunate things like this happen. You know, Adrian did a great job all weekend. Even though he had that problem, the car was fast, and we felt like we had a good race going today, but unfortunately it didn't work out. And you know, one thing, when we hit the fence, we hit it together, and when we win together. So this isn't an Adrian's fault or the team's fault or anything. It's just something that happened. We just have to live with it.
Thank you, Rick.
All right, so a lot of debris to clean up on the track right now, and that gives us opportunity to take a break as well, catch our breath, as the New England 200 is yellow right after turn number 2.
In the PPG IndyCar World Series, you need a great team behind you to be a winner. A leader in Canadian motor racing, Players Limited continues this proud tradition by sponsoring 1994 IndyCar Rookie of the Year Jacques Villeneuve and the Players Limited Racing Team in the PPG IndyCar World Series. The ultimate test of man, machine, and team. Players Limited, a tradition of excellence.
Hi from Snapple. We got a letter here from Dirk MacGyver. Your iced tea is the best I have ever tasted. I am not lying when I say this. We'll see about that.
I've been a polygraph examiner for 10 years, and I would definitely know if he was not telling us the truth. Do you intend to lie to me today about Snapple?
No.
Did you tell the truth in your letter?
Yes.
Is Snapple the best iced tea you ever had?
Yes.
Well, Dirk, I guess you really do like Snapple iced tea.
It might just be the best stuff on earth.
It doesn't take long for things to happen. Teo Fabi moving into the lead ahead of Andre Ribeiro. But on that very first lap, Adrian Fernandez has brought out the yellow flag as the safety crew continues to clean up. You know, in the 3 previous New England 200s, the winning driver has gone on to win the championship. Ray Hall, Mansell in '93, and a year ago, it was Al Unser Jr.
I'm sure because there's a lot of oil on the ground, so when he exits the pits during the pit stop, he needs to be careful.
So the conversation with Robbie Gordon as you ride on board. We're at the New England 200 in Loudon, New Hampshire. Teo Fabi jumped the start, then got a good jump on Ribeiro, as did Robbie Gordon. But what about Robbie Gordon? We've watched him all season long. He's young, brash, and he hates to lose.
I used to ride motorcycles every day after school, and I had one teacher that wrote home to my parents and said, you know, Robbie's not concentrating on school, all he wants to do is race. I don't know if I'm the bad boy out there, but I'm just definitely not going to be one of those drivers you can take advantage of and walk all over out there. I like to win races just as much as the next guy, and whatever it takes to win races, we'll do.
I'm comfortable when I'm doing those kind of things, but I think I react better under pressure.
You can't run with the big dogs. Go home.
I tell you, he's fresh, but he is a good guy and fun to be around. Robbie Gordon, watch for him. Wonder what he's going to get, another off-road championship first or an IndyCar championship. Both are very likely. This is Adrian Fernandez, only his third DNF of the season. He DNF'd at Australia and at Indianapolis, but this was Friday here, Derek.
On the other end of the racetrack. Now watch the black patch. He drives onto it. Right there, then he gets in trouble. Watch this. Now watch the flame. Gearbox smashes into the back of the wall. That was Friday. And then, of course, at the opposite end of the racetrack on lap 1, it all went wrong again. This is into turn 1. Makes it safely through. Now he gets in trouble. Listen. He had a headache on Friday night, and he may have another one now. And Rick Gallis may have a headache when he writes the check to
Rick
fix
Gallis
2
has a heartache right now. So they've gotten the car off the track. They still have quite a bit of debris, and they're a little bit concerned about oil that may be laid down there in the first and second turn. We'll be back.
Freedom. Independent. What it is, it is.
An ordinary hamburger and your Banquet Burger Deluxe. Either is good depending on what you want, which brings us to Midas Mufflers. At Midas, they have top quality Midas mufflers guaranteed for as long as you own your car. Or they have the Economizer at a very reasonable price and guaranteed for 1 full year. The point is, you get some choice in the menu, which is important. I like choice. I have one to make right now. I've made it. It's the way it should be. Midas.
What? Still cleaning up at the New England 200 as you run right along with Bobby Rahal. Interesting to note, despite starting way back in the field in, 16th place, Jacques Villeneuve has picked up the most points on ovals this year.
Behind the PPG pace car, the field circulates now. Teo Fabi, then Robbie Gordon, then Andre Ribeiro. That was the order when we went yellow at the conclusion of the second turn on the first lap here. Now 8 laps are complete. We're still under yellow. And, of course, when they line up, they'll be back single file. And so we'll have a little smoother run into the start. But it was interesting what Andre Ribeiro did. He really probably should have done almost the opposite.
Exactly. He accelerated down through turns 3 and 4, realized he was a long way ahead, backed off right at the time Fabi put his foot down, and of course Fabi got the slingshot. It looked good to the starter stand here, but of course Fabi had such a head of steam, he lost that place too, his outside front row starter.
Let's go down to Gary Gerald.
And if you're wondering how the rookie Ribeiro is handling the early pressure and the anxiety from starting for the pole for the first time, only one radio conversation that we've monitored coming back to the team, Steve Horn in company. He was simply saying the car at the moment is a little loose. It's got an understeer problem, but they think that as they get the tires, the temperature and the pressure build up under green flag conditions, that will all stabilize. He seems to be as cool as can be at this point. Let's go to Jan Beekes.
Hey, Gary, you ever wonder why during these pace laps the cars are weaving back and forth vigorously? The reason is they're trying to get what's called pickup off the tires. This is the other rubber that's come off other tires that deposits here on the tires. These are Scott Pruitt's tires. Now look at these. These have no pickup on them whatsoever because they're so concerned about it. They take a heat gun here, apply the heat to the tire, and then pick up here a putty knife, and a mechanic has to actually individually scrub all that pickup off each and individual tire on these. Now the drivers do it manually out there on the racetrack, but these guys all feel that pickup will be important today.
And we should see a green flag the next time they come by. Robbie Gordon obviously moved early to get into this third position and is charging for the front. And that's really going to be important in the points fight, because the further up he can get, the better off he's going to be, especially if Jacques Villeneuve can stay back. And just in that one move, Gordon actually, for the moment, moved into second place in the points battle. It'll be one more lap now until the green flag, as we take a look at the running order, of course, under yellow at the conclusion of lap 8.
And don't take your eyes off Robbie Gordon, because nobody likes to run on the outside line, on that bravery line, as much as Robbie Gordon. And he would try and pull one over Teo Fabi, knowing that Ribeiro probably will not make a challenge for that lead position or that second position.
Also, though, to take nothing away from Jacques Villeneuve, he moved up 2 positions on the start, ahead of Raul Boisel and Emerson Fittipaldi. Pace comes back up. Teo Fabi brings him to the green. Veteran guy on the pole, veteran racer in the Indycars. And we're back green once again. There's Robbie, comes up as close as he can on the start, now closes on Fabi. The two pull away from third place Ribeiro.
And you saw Gordon high on that outside line, but Fabi was very quick on the line he chose. Here's Gordon's favorite move here. Can he make it? No, he's too far behind.
Complete. The field strung out now. De Ferran comes in to make a move down underside Christian Fittipaldi.
Oh, that was an aggressive move, an unusual move. He almost had to avoid Christian Fittipaldi, who lost so much time himself, and Michael now challenges him down the inside.
Michael Andretti has Christian Fittipaldi on the inside going into 3. Now Michael chasing De Ferran. It's a battle for 6th place.
They use the brakes here. They ride the brakes and get back on as soon as you can. Let's do it again. As soon as he comes off, ride the brakes a little bit, set the man up, get over the new patch of ground, and then get on the power.
You mentioned at starting, Derek, guys like Michael and his teammate Paul Tracy. Michael started 9th, is now 7th. Tracy started 14th, is now 9th.
This is a period where things settle down. The real racing starts when you begin to encounter traffic, and on a 1-mile oval it doesn't take long for the leading cars to get into traffic, and then you see the aggressive moves and the experienced people begin to come up towards the front.
Christian Fittipaldi is lined up just behind this man, Michael Andretti. Gary Gerald, you've been watching their team.
Checking with the crew for Christian Fittipaldi, making sure that there wasn't something really ill handling. They say, no, it's just a case of a rookie driver here in this very busy mile oval, settling in, getting into a race rhythm. Also, a radio report that we picked up, heavy bottoming from one of the observers reported on the number 1 car. That's Al Unser Jr. Remember the last time we had reports of heavy bottoming in Portland and what transpired?
Well, it's still a matter of fact. It's an appeal. And by the way, for those of you that may wonder, it is in the appeal process now. There'll be 3 judges appointed to hear that that issue over the run at Portland that eventually got Jimmy Vasser the win awarded to him. But our calculation of the points, where we suggested at starting that Jacques Villeneuve, as we watch him here, has to leave this track 45 points ahead of everybody else in order to be the champion here. That does take into account that hearing going either way.
Good pictures of Jacques here. He had hoped to get into the top 10 as soon as possible. Tony Sekeli, his engineer, last night made a lot of changes on this car. Villeneuve believed that on full tanks, which he ran this morning, full every time he ran, he thought he was equal to Robbie Gordon. So now he chases Brian Herta, who has actually been in his own bit of a struggle this weekend. Not quite the match of Jimmy Vasser, except for one session on Saturday.
And Jacques, as we look back from Brian Herta's car, sits in a 1-point position. He is 12th. Brian Herta is in 11th. Teo Fabi still the leader. Gordon 2nd, and Ribeiro 3rd. Then Scott Pruitt and Jimmy Vasser. Let's go to Jan Beekes.
Paul, in regards to Jacques Villeneuve, he is receiving radio communications at the moment from Barry Green, his team owner, not on how close he is to the other competitors, but where the leader is. They're very concerned about keeping the leader in sight, making sure they don't go a lap down.
course, there's something that happens so very quick on a 1 mile oval. It's the front of the field already overhauling the back end of the field, despite the fact that they were so very close in qualifying, a second covering the first 20 positions here.
So Jacques does his bit in the cockpit, and Barry Green does his bit on monitoring what happens in the race. What a team this has turned out to be, Paul. I mean, a team makes a driver and a driver makes a team. But they are an example of a team who have spent their budget very wisely and had so much success on basically having harmony and the right people in the right place.
One man has struggled throughout this weekend has been Stefan Johansson. Gary Gerald, those struggles continue?
Apparently that's the case, Paul. We understand that we know that they had to make a motor change after the warm-up session this morning. They only got a couple of laps in, and apparently they developed some kind of an oil leak. We anticipate that Tony Bettenhausen is going to bring him in. They may just park it for the day.
Jack going into turn 3 tries to make the inside move on Brian Herta, but fails to make the pass. The question would be, where does Jack have to play this whole thing? He's got 3 races, counting this one, left. Go for broke here or just take it easy?
Absolutely not. But here he's a run on Brian Herta right here. Can he duck down the inside of turn 3? Yes, he does. Under braking makes it stick. Now he's only 1 place away from that top 10 that he wanted to be in before his first pit stop.
But I think some indication that he is being very careful. Let's go back up to the front of the field. Teo Fabi, number 33, as we watch Robbie Gordon and Andre Ribeiro. This is a battle for second place right behind the leader. Ribeiro now beginning to get up a full head of steam, and he moves inside of Gordon. So Ribeiro to second place, but look at Gordon, he comes right back.
As the race settles down here, 25 laps gone, Ribeiro begins to find his feet. He ran down Robbie Gordon, and here's Scott Pruitt down the inside of Gordon.
Pruitt in 4th place moves into the battle. Tries to get underneath Gordon. Look to the left there. That's Ribeiro just ahead.
That was Derek Walker saying, watch Pruitt. Oh, he goes outside him and pulls it off.
Ribeiro gets caught up with slower traffic. Ribeiro got caught up with Salazar and had to drop back in behind Robbie. But look at Scott Pruitt as he works way high on the outside. And Ribeiro comes to the inside again, and he's got him.
This is what's so great about the Magic Mile here in New Hampshire. As soon as you get into traffic, you have to begin to anticipate so far ahead, and that's why you see so many place changes like Robbie Gordon here and Andre Ribeiro.
Salazar, the green and white car on the inside, becoming a factor in this, but now he realizes these are the leaders stringing past. And as both Pruitt and Vassar and DeFerrin come past. They tend to talk to one another as we watch Scott Pruitt move to the inside of Gordon. Again, slower traffic a factor. Drag racing down the backstretch. Pruitt gets in low. Gordon up on that high line that he loves. Whoa, he takes the bravery line and they stay side by side over to the front stretch.
You have to hold your breath. You have to hold your breath when you make moves like this, but wheel to wheel at 190 miles an hour down this front straight, you also have to have confidence in the man that you're racing at that speed. Paul Pruitt seems to be better on the tight line down the inside. There he goes again.
Boy, 2 cars, each seem to be matched for the line that they're driving, which means when they get back to the start-finish line, they're dead even again. Remember what Scott Pruitt said at starting about these bull rings, and remember what Derek Daly said about how they can be terrifying and fun.
10-4, hang in there, you're doing good.
Derek Walker, the car owner, talking to Robbie Gordon as we look back to the front of the field again. Andre Ribeiro beginning to close and trying to challenge on Teo Fabi. Again, slower traffic a factor. That's Carlos Guerrero just ahead. Teo holds the top position. Guerrero comes down under Herta. Look at Ribeiro as he comes to the inside.
Tighten your seatbelts here, boys. This is some of the best. Ribeiro went down the inside of turn 1 and got blocked. Had to back out of it. But this is as good as it gets as Brian Herta's in trouble.
Brian Herta very definitely slowing as his teammate Jimmy Vassar comes around.
He's on his way to the pits. You don't run that slow without having a major problem. But Ribeiro having a superb run here for Tasman.
Herta's dropped from 11th to 20th and of course just went a lap down. Back at the lead. There's Teo. And Ribeiro now beginning to roll up on him again. Lap or two, he should be right there. So Teo Fabi, the leader here. Andre Ribeiro in second, Pruitt third, then Vassar, then DeFerrin. Michael Andretti is now up to sixth.
Fittipaldi, Unser and Tracy, Villeneuve. Players Limited continues its leadership in Canadian motor racing by sponsoring Road America 200 winner Jacques Villeneuve and the Players Limited racing team in the PPG Indycar World Series, the ultimate test of man and machine. Players Limited, a tradition of excellence.
Dear Dave, after a session last week, we had your new smoky bacon cheeseburgers. One bite and we said, man, whoever made this has paid his dues. 3 strips of hickory smoked bacon, processed smoked cheddar with that sauce, all on a $1/4 pound of fresh ground beef with sauteed onions. Dave, it was so delicious, Lucille and I played a whole set of Lowdown Blues. Your pal, B.B. King.
Dear B.B., keep smiling. You'll beat those blues yet.
Try Wendy's new smoky bacon cheeseburger.
Welcome back to our coverage of the New England 200, and it has been absolutely heart-stopping coverage so far. As you take a look at the leader, Teo Fabi, who started outside row 1 along with Andre Ribeiro, grabbed the lead on the start, and now you look at Paul Tracy, who is moving his way up. His teammate, Michael Andretti, is currently running in 6th. But there may be problems for Robbie Gordon, who is falling back. Back to New England.
We're back at the New England 200. You're riding with Robbie Gordon, but when you take a look at the top 6, you can see that Robbie Gordon is in trouble. He's been falling steadily backwards. Gary Gerald, any idea what the problem is?
Yeah, Derek Walker just indicated the car's extremely loose, and so that's what they're battling. They're hoping he can hang on until they get in the pit window for the first stop to make an adjustment. Same problem for Brian Herta. Paul Tracy, however, looks like a guy on the move, and he is really coming up through traffic. Now, with that yellow that we had in the first lap incident, I think we will not see pit stops if we stay green until the early 70 lap mark, maybe 72 to 75.
Paul Tracy has moved up into 7th position just behind his teammate as we watch him here, Michael Andretti. Little explanation of the pit window, the way we referred to it. At starting, we said lap 62 would be the pit window. That's in a perfect situation. A team can also figure the pit window from the finish backwards as well. And we've heard Derek Walker talking about maybe about lap 39 they might pit this car.
And the only reason Derek Walker would call him in earlier, if he loses so much time on the racetrack with a handling problem, he could take him in, try and fix it, and then send him back up. And look what's going on here.
3 wide into 1 as here is Michael caught up with a whole gaggle of traffic in front of him as he comes down inside of Jimmy Vassar, picks him off for 4th place.
And that's the use of traffic right there. Now he tries to go inside Pruitt. Look at that.
Oh, Pruitt loses it. And Pruitt catches the wall. He loses it just in front of Michael. Little oil fire at the back of the car.
Talk about being right there.
I see you. You all right?
Got hit up pretty good. It's like I got hit from behind or something.
Well, of course, we know different than that, because you saw it right from Michael's onboard camera. Scott Pruitt talking to Jim McGee, his team manager, and the IndyCar safety team right there. Fire has burned itself out at the back of the car, and that eliminates Pruitt from the championship. So now we're seeing some pit stops. Jan Beekes?
Yes, Teo Fabi, our leader, brings it in. He had just called in on the radio saying that he was one of those cars that was going very loose. So they have told him to take the front sway bar and make it full stiff. Now they're going to try and make an adjustment. Oh, they have a problem with the right rear. They have a problem with the gun. Teo Fabi in big trouble here. Is going to lose the lead for sure. They still can't get it tightened. Now Teo Fabi is down. A long stop for Teo Fabi today.
Andre Ribeiro was rolling, but Michael Andretti, it looks, may have been the first out. Yeah, Michael Andretti got out ahead of everybody. So a round of stops under the 2nd yellow of the day, bringing most of the field in, causing grief for Teo Fabi because of the problem with the air gun, and gives Michael Andretti the lead of the race. Let's go back. Scott Pruitt, they say, is okay. Here's what happened.
Michael tries to come down the inside. Doesn't quite make it. Pruitt's now in the area where Fernandez crashed. All by himself, he loses control. From then on, just like Fernandez.
On Friday.
On Friday, one-way ticket to the concrete wall.
Now, we are aware there's a little bit of a ripple in the pavement right about there.
Here's the move from the Indycar with Michael. He gets a good run off turn 2. Passes Vassar, passes Bozell, tries to get by Pruitt. Can't do it. Pruitt gets brave. Watch this. See Michael on the brakes. Michael got on the brakes to make sure he didn't get gathered up by Pruitt. So Pruitt, despite thinking he may have got tapped from the back, this was a loose oversteering car. It happened all by himself, and we know that Gordon is complaining about being loose, as is Brian Herta.
So Scott Pruitt, the report is he's okay. You see him walking back with Dr. Terry Tremmel, one of the IndyCar physicians. We're under our second yellow of the day, and we'll be back right after this.
Straight away down in the pit of your gut. Wrenching, squealing tires, smoking from start to finish. Gonna be there? Because I know.
From the trusted family of Grimeter products who brought you laundry aids and waterless hand cleaners comes a technological breakthrough in car wax. The new Grimeter waterless car wash and wax. Just spray on and wipe off for a showroom finish in less than 20 minutes. Use it safely 12 months a year, anytime, anywhere. The new Grimeter waterless car wash and wax. Available exclusively at Canadian Tire.
The safety crew continues to clean up after Scott Pruitt's crash coming out of turn 4. Bill Adam, what is it about turn 4?
Well, it's just a case of trying to get onto the front straight as early as possible, and really it isn't anything different than too, but perhaps just the crowd there. It's something that may take that moment of concentration away from the drivers. They're trying to apply well over 700 horsepower, and the back just disappears.
A short time before the yellow came out and the incident involving Pruitt that Tracy was a man on the move, and then suddenly he was having a major problem with the car. He came in under the benefit of the yellow, and underneath that wrap right down there is a right front tire that was badly worn. That was greatly contributing to the ill handling. The Goodyear engineers have already taken a preliminary look at it. They'll say they'll try to determine, of course, with further testing and observation, just what may have caused the problem. Don't know if it was a lock brake, don't know if it was a tire pressure problem or what, but that was dramatically influencing the handling for Tracy. So this yellow was fortuitous for him. Meanwhile, while Teo Fabi was having his problems in the pit, Andre Ribeiro came in, got routine service. He gained that position back from Teo as he easily slid back on the circuit. Michael Andretti, however, yet to come in and make the stop, Paul.
One guy definitely on the move. Al Unser Jr. has moved from 17th to 6th. And there is the serial scoring on Little Al's car as he comes around under the yellow, second yellow of the day. We are scoring on the 47th lap. The Bud 1 airship bringing us today's aerial shots. It's up 1,000 feet over this bull ring here, 194 feet long. Gives us some great aerials and has helped us analyze both of the accidents we've seen thus far.
In the PPG IndyCar World Series, you need a great team behind you to be a winner. A leader in Canadian motor racing, Players Limited continues this proud tradition by sponsoring 1994 IndyCar Rookie of the Year Jacques Villeneuve and the Players Limited Racing Team in the PPG IndyCar World Series. The ultimate test of man, machine, and team. Players Limited, a tradition of excellence.
Hi, a kid in high school wrote to me from detention. I only have a Snapple iced tea to pass the time. Signed, suddenly caught talking. Poor guy.
Hey, excuse me, is Jeff here?
Thanks for your letter, Jeff. Here's some iced tea to pass the time.
But remember,
nothing takes the place of a good education.
Grab some Snapple, man.
We didn't know we could write this well.
It might just be the best stuff on earth.
We continue under yellow at New England. After the second crash of the day, Scott Pruitt taking himself out as you look at Emerson Fittipaldi. But however, it is Newman Haas cars that are currently running 1-2. And you see Michael Andretti there, followed by Paul Tracy, Bill Adam. Tracy has been on a charge.
He has indeed, Vic, and it's almost as I so intelligently predicted at the start of our race today. Paul really gets very inspired, and I think bad qualifying just does that much more for him. But the other critical thing is the team. A team that can respond quickly and make the necessary changes are invaluable. If they were able to find something in morning warm-ups, they did it.
We should be going back to green flag shortly here, and here's some very interesting information. The pit stop summary. Here's Michael. He came in fourth, out in first. Paul Tracy in sixth, out in second. The real loser in the whole thing seemed to be Teo Fabi, who went in first and came out in eighth. So we'll keep an eye on him in eighth position and see if he's able to move up through the field, because he certainly is fast on the track, but the pits failed him on that one.
And take a bow, everybody in the Newman Haas team who goes over the wall to serve as Michael's car and Paul Tracy, because that was a good example of the driver needing all the help he can get on a 1 mile oval. And when he comes down the pit lane and makes that amount of place improvements, you have to say that the team is working extremely well.
And as an update, the Newman Haas stops both Michael and Paul Tracy. We're going to split them up and watch on boards. Were routine stops for them.
The interesting thing now is we have two of the most aggressive drivers on 1 mile ovals. Michael leading Tracy, who loves to make that outside move, and of course they just got one finger. Next time by, they will get one finger, and it's all action again.
Michael Andretti, Paul Tracy nose to tail. That's the split screen you're looking at. Andretti in front, Tracy in second, then Jimmy Vasser, Ribeiro, Christian Fittipaldi, and Al Unser Jr. up in sixth place, who's coming up through the field. By the way, two of the teams at least, Penske Racing and Newman Haas, sent spotters up to the press level to a grandstand normally used up here by NASCAR, for example, to spot. And there was an official decision that they can't view from up there. They can view from grandstand. We've run into that before at Milwaukee and a couple of other places. They were up there. They said, no, but you can move down to a grandstand. And they were concerned, quite concerned about the safety issue. And safety, certainly, we've seen it as a problem on this track. Here we go. We're ready to run back to green. Lap 51. 1/4 of the race already done.
Watch Paul Tracy try to pull a move. But Ribeiro tries to block Christian Fittipaldi. Ribeiro, I think, having a good race here. Staying on the lead lap, keeping his nose clean and learning a lot.
Fellow Brazilians, Ribeiro, Fittipaldi, battle for fourth. Nothing changes at the front. There comes Teo Fabi past, just ahead of Robbie Gordon. So he's moved around one car, and that's Gordon. Teo, very definitely moving up through this field now.
Fabi did such a great job all season long with this Jerry Forsyth entry. Virtually no damage in testing or in racing for the whole season. Little bit at Portland, but Gordon is in trouble again. Gilles de Ferran goes down the inside.
Whatever they were working on doesn't look like it worked. De Ferran got around him. Now Jacques Villeneuve closes up behind Gordon. Gordon is ninth. Back to the front. Michael Andretti closing on Bobby Rahal. Rahal runs in 15th place. Of course, he is the end of the lead lap. Down and under. There's the view from Rahal's car. Paul Tracy should be next, coming up to the left there.
So Rahal, who struggled all week here, is just not fast enough to stay on the pace. Now he's one lap down. Michael has a little bit of breathing space because Jimmy Vasser is on the charge and trying to run down Michael Andretti.
All points contenders. There is Vasser coming out of the corner of the screen. And Ribeiro comes to the inside. as Paul Tracy closes the door on him, and they close down on Vassar.
Well, Paul Ribeiro seems to be good. Here's the Honda power. Look at this. Ford versus Honda down the inside. This Firestone car is very good. We saw Pruitt pull it off earlier, and yes, he does it.
Oh, is that great? So Ribeiro moves up one on Paul Tracy. The order is Michael Vassar Tracy, Michael Vassar Ribeiro now.
Andre Ribeiro is beginning to show how good he is here and how good this Tasman team is and the car they have put under him, because he seems to have a confidence level right now to dive down inside these star names, and Michael is not that far up the road.
Ribeiro moves to the inside again, this time on Fangio.
See how decisive that move is, Paul?
Turned it right in.
No ifs, buts, just straight down the inside. Oh, what a pleasure it is now for Ribeiro. We talked about the fun you have on an oval track. That's exactly what you see here. A confident driver with a fast car, enjoying himself, making more passes than he has probably in the last couple of seasons.
A pleasure when the car is fast and good.
And that's what
When it's not like Robbie Gordon's, it can be a very long day.
An absolute nightmare it can be.
Back to the front of the field. There is the leader, Michael Andretti. Now take a look up. We'll see where second place is. There he is, Ribeiro. As he flashes across the line, 3.3 seconds behind the leader, Jimmy Vassar, now trying to get out of traffic himself so he can, from third place, renew his attack on Ribeiro. Gary Gerald?
Well, that spotter story's taken another little wrinkle here, if you will. Not only are there stands up there where you folks are at the top of the suites in the press box watching the front straightaway in the racetrack, we understand that Ribeiro had a spotter in turn 2 in a photo location. We were informed by IndyCar officials that they're now escorting him from that location. So I guess he'll be looking for a grandstand ticket as well.
Looking back to Al Unser Jr. Still runs in 6th, and look at the traffic that he has to work with.
And that is for a position. Teo Fabi behind him. Christian Fittipaldi just ahead of him. Fabi looks to be the fastest car of this group here.
But you mentioned that Christian can be very tough to pass.
Well, look at Al Jr. had to look to the outside. Now watch what Fabi does here. Stays down to the inside, has a grandstand view of what might happen. DeFerrin's right behind him. Here goes Junior.
Al Unser Jr. moves to the inside of Fittipaldi. Teo Fabi may not be able to get past. No, he can't. At the same time, up at the front, Ribeiro is closing on Michael Andretti. Now a second and a half behind. DeFerrin looking to the inside of Teo.
And Jacques Villeneuve where he wanted to be. He's in the top 10. He's actually running 9th, looking strong, trying to pass DeFerrin.
Still can't get it done.
See the twitch on the front as he turned in there. That means the car may get away at any second. That tells the driver that's the limit. Don't go any further.
So for the young Canadian, must be a frustrating day. He knows he can wrap up the championship. He knows because of that he has to be careful. But as a driver, he also knows you can be too careful.
And he also knows that Frank Williams watches every move he makes, and Frank Williams likes him and has already put his contract in his back pocket, so he's happy.
Yeah, so no worries. Teo Fabi. Jr. now working up through the field trying to get Tracy.
4th and 5th. Al Jr. likes the high side. He sets him up on the high side. Vibration from the rear wing of Paul Tracy's car. This car that Paul Tracy's in has had so much understeer here all weekend. They tried a new aerodynamic tweak. They wouldn't tell me exactly what it was. They just said it did not work. They're on suspension number 5 on the front of this car, trying to get rid of some of the understeer that causes these drivers to have to come off the power and just go slower than they can go.
Here's the running order after 64 laps. The real key is at number 1 position, Michael Andretti, because if he stays there, he's going to delay, if not ruin, any championship that Jacques Villeneuve has in mind, because it closes him into such a position that the championship would go on at least to the next race at Vancouver. 3 previous winners here at New Hampshire have gone on to win the championship in the same year. Ray Hall in '92, Mansell in '93, Unser Jr. last year.
Look at this side by side with Ray Hall. 1.5 laps. Ray Hall, we thought, was moving down to the inside. Made Junior work so hard to go around the outside. But they have confidence in each other. They don't mind being side by side. It takes a full lap and a half to finally pull it off. You might wonder why someone like Ray Hall just doesn't seem to be fast. If you have a push, you come off the power, you've no option but to let other people pass you.
So Michael Andretti is the leader, but Andrew Ribeiro is closing in, and Jimmy Vasser runs in third.
Freedom. Independent. What it is, it is.
Medium deep on 2. Ready? Break! Red 2! Red 2! Ready, set! Pump 1! Hut 2!
Right now at Pizza Hut, order any 2 medium or large pizzas at regular price and get a free 2-liter bottle of Pepsi. But you gotta ask for it.
Special visitor in Jacques Villeneuve's pit. That's his grandmother, Georgette Villeneuve, who may watch him win a championship, and she's going to watch him go to Formula One next year.
I think for Jacques, it's the best thing for him to do it because he's very young. He succeeded well in Indycar race, and I know on back of his mind he wants to do like his father did, go back to Formula One or go to Formula One, experience Formula One, and he got the best opportunity that could never repeat again. Because to go to Formula One, you don't have the best team or one of the best teams, you are not going to succeed. And the door opened for him with the Williams team that I reckon is one of the best teams, and he grabbed the opportunity, and he's right.
As we look at Jacques Villeneuve battle with Gilles de Ferran, nearly midway through the New England 200.
Jacques Villeneuve and Gilles de Ferran battling side by side as Jack finally gets around them. Interesting battle considering it's well back for 9th place. That's Robbie Gordon in 10th, just behind. 1 minute he seems to tiptoe, and then suddenly he moves past somebody.
Which is an example of a driver measuring up the moves he can make. Remember, he has to think at the end of this race, so he has to think of championship and consistency, because if he makes a mistake here, then of course his championship chase becomes that much more difficult.
Let's go back and look at it again. Jack and Jill.
Now, who was that, Paul?
Jack and Jill, there they are.
Remember
Jill
this.
and Jack.
This is together at 150 miles an hour. The slowest point they reach is 146. Now they're side by side. Speed increases, 185 miles an hour. They both turn into the left-hander. De Ferran obviously doesn't want to make it easy. Oh, look at this here with Gordon.
Gordon, Fabi. Gordon has to pull high to let the rest of the battle through.
Gordon got in deep trouble there. He got so...
Get after them now. Get back in your rhythm.
You heard what Derek Walker said there. Get back in your rhythm. That was Gordon, back to Derek Walker.
Got Michael coming up behind you. He's about slot 4. Michael behind you.
So Robbie's complaining he's
I
loose.
think everybody else is too. Just everybody's caught up in traffic. Just hang in there. Don't give up an inch.
I'm going a lap down. I'm going a lap down because I'm so loose, he says.
He tried something the rear bar. Tried to wait Jacker.
listening to Robbie Gordon as Derek Walker gives him some options.
Got Michael on your tail.
Michael's going to fly by him here. This is going to be no trouble.
Interesting that there goes Michael. You're right. Frustration of a driver.
Derek mentioned a weight jacker. Robbie Gordon inside the cockpit can jack weight onto the left front wheel, which actually makes the back more stable. Gordon says he's trying everything. Look at this. Look how easily Ribeiro just flies down the inside.
But interesting the way the two-way radios pay off, because it seemed obvious that Robbie hadn't tried that to its fullest extent until Derek reminded him.
Sometimes you get so busy trying to hang on and save your life and keep the car off the wall, you don't have time to remember everything.
Keeping an eye on Paul Tracy, Jacques Villeneuve now runs in 9th place. Jan Bikas.
Well, if you're wondering why he's so much more racy than he was earlier, he was another one of those guys, just like Robbie Gordon, that went loose. So when he made his pit stop, Barry Green says they took a ton of front wing out of it. He's much happier with the handling of that car now.
Well, he's proving in performance. There's no question about that. The order, Michael and Ribeiro, 1.2 seconds back. Then Vassar. Paul Tracy is 4th. Unser Jr. is 5th. You ride now with 4th place, Paul Tracy.
Technique involved here. Finesse with the car and adapt to the traffic and anticipate where they're going to get in trouble, where you can pounce. Tracy after Vassar. Example there. Vassar gets inside Gugelmin. Tracy doesn't quite make it. Vassar gets away. Tracy now forces the issue.
Paul Tracy finally gets past Big Mo. Let's go to Gary.
I'll tell you, he's happy right now for the first time. He says this car's really come into neutral. What they mean now, he's right at what they consider almost a perfect balance. That's what's made Tracy such a great contender the last 2 years in his dramatic battles with Nigel Mansell and Al Unser Jr. He loves the way this car's handling right now, and I think you're seeing it as you ride with him.
Back on board with Paul Tracy. Jacques Villeneuve just moved around Teo Fabi. Let's go back up to the front. Michael Andretti, Andre Ribeiro. And look at Ribeiro.
That's Teo Fabi, Paul. He's in trouble. He's a lap down now.
Yeah, Jack just really screamed around him a moment ago. But look at Ribeiro. Ribeiro is now up to challenge.
Superb race by Andre Ribeiro here. Oh, he's quick down the straights. He loves that inside line. Firestone tires on that Reynard versus the Goodyear tires on Michael's car.
Good comparison of power here on the backside. Honda, Ford Cosworth. Last lap speeds tell the tale of what might be inevitable here.
That's Cheever in Foyt's car. Too slow, moves to the high line.
Ribeiro looks for the outside position. Remember, he tends to favor the inside, though.
He does, but I think Ribeiro has the speed now over Michael. Now it's a case of trying to pick your spot.
Paul Tracy's just moved around Jimmy Vassar for 3rd. Tracy moving up 2.
Michael will try and make it as difficult as he can, because track position is so vital here if he can keep Ribeiro behind him.
49 laps since the last pit stop. Should be another 12, 13 laps before anybody's ready to head for the pits. But Teo Fabi, who has been having some problems, has headed for the pits early. Jan Vikas is right there.
Oh, he's bringing it in because the car is very, very loose. So they're going to change the 4 tires, try and change the stagger on the car, and we're watching carefully. I'm surprised they're not going to change the front wings. No change on the front wings, just tires and fuel for Teo Fabi. Hopefully just the stagger will be a big enough change. Somehow I don't think so.
Back up front, Michael Andretti still being pursued by Ribeiro. Paul Tracy now 3rd place. He moved around Vassar. Plenty of traffic now lies ahead. And again here, Derek Daly, what you suggested at starting. Aggression is a key, but who's going to have more of it in this battle?
Oh, it will be a proverbial traffic jam in about 1 more lap because Fittipaldi, Defer, and Villeneuve are all in their own private battle, so they will not want to back off too much despite the leaders being right behind them. Ribeiro's the man that's in uncharted territory here. He's learning on a huge learning curve today.
Emerson Fittipaldi, 9th place, about to be lapped as the leaders come up on him. But the real battle is right here.
You see Ribeiro change his line there. He went out.
Oh, look at that. Boy, right under braking, Ribeiro almost had him, but then he gets caught up behind Fittipaldi. Fittipaldi lets Michael down to the inside. Now Ribeiro's caught up behind him. Ribeiro has to look for room, and Michael gets away.
I don't know what that felt like in the cockpit, but that looked downright dangerous from where we are here. We're a long way away, but Ribeiro tried to make a move around the outside and almost got himself in deep trouble. Here he goes again.
Ribeiro now comes up on the right rear, then looks to the inside. From excitement to terror to excitement in less than 20 seconds.
He is so confident right now. The key is do not let the confidence override the power of the vehicle. Do not think this car can do more than it can do. Michael is so difficult to pass in a situation like this.
And Michael knows the traffic.
Oh, Michael knows all you need to know on an oval track like this, but Ribeiro is in a faster car right now.
Clear of that first bit of traffic that they had to deal with, but look at Ribeiro. Ribeiro now moves to the outside, gets very, very high, and he can't get it done.
Oh, remember, this is 150 miles an hour off these corners, and they are inches apart. There he goes.
Ribeiro takes that line that he favors, ducks to the inside, takes the lead. At the same time, the black flag is going to come out for 3rd place, Paul Tracy. They're seeing some smoke on the car, and they want to take a look at it. So 3rd place will come out. Jimmy Vassar will come back to 3rd. What a pass, though, by Ribeiro.
What a move by Andre Ribeiro, the man who has so little experience in these conditions, leading races on an oval like this. What a great, spectacular afternoon he is having. He is brim full of confidence, and that car is brim full of speed.
Let's move back to Paul Tracy now and keep an eye on his car. See if we can figure out why they may be giving him the black flag. What might be the problem as we pass the halfway point now. And here is Tracy answering that black flag, heading down into the Newman Haas pits all the way down at the far end. And Gary Gerald's there to watch. Gary, you have any idea what they're looking for?
No, they know no more, or at least they've indicated no more than what we heard from the IndyCar officials, and that the fact that there was some smoke there. Boy, Tracy's hot. He did not like the fact that he was called in. They're taking the usual precautions of changing the rubber. And no, at the back of the car, the official is pointing, saying no. And at the front of the car, Tracy wants to go. An official won't let him, won't move. Tracy gestures desperately, but he is not going to go anywhere, according to these officials. At the back of the car, pointing emphatically, saying something back there. We're at the front of the car. Now the crew runs back to look as well. Billy Camphausen comes in. He shakes his head, waves his hands.
No, you're not
it's
going
over.
anywhere.
It's over for Tracy. And boy, this team and this driver is not happy.
Well, let's stay with this, see exactly what it is. Ribeiro still running in the lead. We'll track him running in traffic. They're going to take the cowling off. The team doesn't want to give up on this yet. There's Ribeiro as he comes up to lap Jacques Villeneuve.
Look at this in the cockpit. Look, Billy Camphausen and Tracy literally were nose to nose as Tracy had thrown the steering wheel. He grabbed grabbed at the hand of Camphausen, and there was an animated discussion. It may continue as Tracy's now out of the car. Boy, emotions running real high.
And Billy Camphausen, of course, in the worst position of all, being the one who has to call that infraction. We yet do not know what the reason was to pull Tracy out. We should know in a few minutes. Paul Tracy absolutely livid, having had such a spectacular run all the way to third place with a car that he thought and we thought looked like was getting better as the race went on.
Now they come down, they take a look, still at the back end, and we're still looking to try and determine exactly what the problem was. Andre Ribeiro out in front, but this was what gave Andre the lead of the race. And boy, look at how fast he just stuffed it down the inside and took the lead. We'll be back.
I'm in charge. I can make appointments. I can break appointments. I can call a meeting. I could call Hong Kong. I am in complete control. I just wish I could open these windows.
On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers.
Hi from Snapple. An iced tea drinker from Atlanta writes, are your commercials for real or are the people just actors? Ask them yourself.
The detention guy, yeah. Come here.
That's the only good thing that ever came out of New York. Snapple.
Come here, Shane.
So you don't think the people are real? Oh, we're real.
I believe you now.
It might just be the best stuff on earth.
I'm a real person.
Earlier today in New Hampshire, a 1-2 finish for the Players Limited Indy Lights team. Greg Moore finishing first, Claude Bourbonnais second. For Moore, a record-tying 9 wins in a single season.
Well, for a driver, it's never much fun being a spectator, but this young man is obviously looking at future plans right now. Greg, the motivation is obviously still there. Another great job today.
Well, yeah, you know, the Pole Players Limited Forsyth crew did a great job today, and you know, definitely the motivation is there. We want to beat Paul Tracy's record now. Now that we've tied it, we know we've got 2 more races to go. We know that we can beat it, and it'll be nice to do it in Vancouver.
That's right. The pressure is really going to be on to perform at home.
Well, yeah, you know, the pressure is definitely going to be on because, you know, we're at home. We've got all the friends and family there. My girlfriend's going to be there, and, you know, so it makes it tough that way. But, you know, I think we've still got a real good chance.
Indeed, they've got a race in Vancouver, and then, of course, Laguna Seca. As you look at the leader, Andre Ribeiro, what an absolutely brilliant move he put on Michael Andretti to take over first place. But what about Paul Tracy? What's happened to the Canadian who was running so well?
Should be due for a pit stop any time now by the leader of the race, Andre Ribeiro. 69 laps since his last stop. Official reason now being given for Paul Tracy's being yanked out of third with a black flag is an oil leak, Gary Gerald.
Well, here's Paul Tracy now, and he's had a chance to kind of collect his thoughts. They're now saying Indycar is telling us an oil leak at the back of the car, but I know there was tremendous emotion, and you were very angry.
Well, I think it's a bogus call. They said, you know, they're saying we can't go back out and we can fix the problem, but they're saying they won't let us run. So I think that's a bogus call. It's eliminating us from the championship. I had a great race going. We need the points. It's right to the end of the year. I'm trying to move up into the top 3, and they won't let us return, which is disappointing.
And what were you telling Billy Camphausen, because you were almost literally nose to nose?
I said we got to get back out, and he says no way, we're not letting you back out. So I think it's a bogus maneuver on behalf of IndyCar to eliminate a guy when he's running in the top 3 position.
Are you worried about disciplinary action because of that altercation?
I could care less. You know, it's more important where we finish on the racetrack.
Thank you, Paul.
Angry. With some right to be. Third place.
Well, there is
safety still a concern.
Yeah, there is so much at stake here. Millions of dollars go into putting these cars on the racetrack, and when you run in the top 3, that is beginning to do your job as you want to do it. But there is an oil leak. Oil obviously was coming out onto the racetrack. I'm not quite sure why they can't fix it and maybe get back out again, but then we don't know exactly how serious it is.
And you know, there is a little bit of a comparative issue. Wide open road course, maybe you could have a little oil leaking. Tight bull ring oval, you don't want any spray on that racetrack.
No chances because of safety. When you go through these corners with that white concrete wall on the outside, any slight bit of oversteer caused by fluid, you are in for a headache.
On about 2 minutes, we ought to see Andre Ribeiro head for the pits along with the rest of the leaders. And what this has managed to do is dropping Michael down into second place with Ribeiro's pass is once again impacts the way the points fight goes. For a while there, with Michael in the lead, the championship would go on to the next race at Vancouver, Canada. Right now, with Michael running in second place, if Jack can stay where he is or do better, he's currently running in sixth, then the championship will be his at the end of the day. Villeneuve's 6 contenders for the title have been mathematically eliminated. 2 of his 6. So, right now, he can stay there.
You can see now that Michael is beginning to struggle to get by Bobby Rahal. We saw how easy he did it earlier. Well, he made him work for a little bit. But he's not quite as fast. And Ribeiro, who is putting on a superb display here of driving talent and a well set up racing car, is just absolutely running away from Michael.
A little more on Paul Tracy. Gary, do we know yet what was leaking?
Paul, I happened to get a chance to take a look underneath the rear wing as they brought the car back up on this side of the wall, and it's very congested. They couldn't move it, and you could clearly see drops of oil coming off the whole lower stanchion. So apparently there was a very pronounced spray. It's definitely a lot of fluid. It appears to be oil, and there's no question it was significant, at least in my opinion.
Well, Gary, while you're talking, we're watching Jack Villeneuve as he really is carving his way up. Just came up alongside and around Michael.
That was not for position. Not for position. Yes, he's back on the same lap now as Michael, but you can see Michael beginning to struggle. We can only presume his car has gone loose. The rear does not have enough grip. That is a problem here. These cars tend to go loose the more these races go on here on the Magic Mile at New Hampshire.
Back 11 seconds in front now. Still Andre Ribeiro, and should be heading for the pits anytime now. Right here, Andre Ribeiro is going to make his turn in. Will Michael Andretti turn in behind him? They're both 79 laps since their last stop. So here is Ribeiro, and Jan Beekes is watching.
Andre Ribeiro brings it to a stop. You saw the front brakes lock up there just briefly. Andre Ribeiro is happy with the handling of the car, but is having a few problems with the brakes. Maybe that's why we saw that one move when he had Michael. He went way high. So right now, they're just planning on changing the tires. There, all the fuel's in. Andre Ribeiro, nice stop for him. We'll have to see if he hangs on to the lead, Paul.
So Ribeiro at the 122nd lap, in and out. Has to be careful here. Don't want to get above those yellow lines, or you'll be right back in with a stop and go penalty. Again, the essence of the oval, safety's the key. You don't want to pull a car right out of the pits and right up into traffic.
And Ribeiro during that stop never even lifted his visor, didn't even want to get some cool fresh oxygen, was so happy with the position he was in. Good job by the Tasman crew. Boy, this is a great race. They will watch this videotape for a while. Second time he has led an IndyCar race. Was so impressive at the 500 at Michigan. He led 68 laps here, the most by any driver that afternoon. And now he leads in convincing style here at New Hampshire.
Well, on the stop, Michael Andretti and Jimmy Vasser were able to get past Ribeiro, but of course they're due to stop as well. Ribeiro becoming the first, along with Al Unser Jr., of those to make the second round of stops. And doing so on the 125th lap, the presumption is then that you go to the finish.
And this package is so good. It seems to be unusual that Steve Horn would want to change to Lola cars for next year, but that's what he will do. He'll leave the Rainer and go to Lola, the same car that Michael Andretti is in here as we ride over his shoulder, still running in the lead because of Ribeiro's pit stop.
Back in front, riding with Michael Andretti. Gilda Farron's pitted. Christian Fittipaldi has pitted. Jack Villeneuve has pitted. Robbie Gordon has made his stop. Emerson Fittipaldi made the stop. Also did Mauricio Gugelmin. Gerald sits down in the Newman Haas pit as Michael comes to a stop.
Well, we'll be watching the progress of Andre Ribeiro on the track as we watch the service job here from Newman Haas. Michael Andretti lost his teammate Paul Tracy a few moments ago. Ribeiro on the front straightaway. Andretti waiting. Now he makes his move. Will he get out in time?
No, Ribeiro on the backside as Andretti comes up to speed. 13.9 seconds for the stop. And Michael brings her back up to speed.
And Michael now has the fresh tires on, so the chase may begin to start again in the next 10 to 20 laps. Ribeiro at the moment is half a lap ahead of Michael, safely in the lead. And virtually everybody except Ribeiro and Andretti still have to make that stop in the top 10.
We've had 2 caution periods for 11 laps here today. About a half a lap. So now the stops for the leader is complete, Jan Beekes.
That's right. I can give you an update on a couple other stops, Paul. First of all, Jacques Villeneuve came in, made a very quick stop. No changes made on the car. Then right behind him, Gilles de Ferran came in. His car must have been loose because it took a lot of front wing out of it. Also, Gilles de Ferran has no clutch. Thankfully, we got him pushed and got him back out in the race.
So after the stops, the order is Ribeiro, Michael Andretti, Unser Jr., Jimmy Vasser, and 5th place is Jacques Villeneuve, and that's exactly where he needs to be to wrap up the championship right here in New Hampshire in the New England 200.
Face it, shaving is a pain. It strips away the skin's moisture, leaving it hot, dry, and burning. But now there's Sensitive from Old Spice. It's the one with cooling sensates, an invigorating blast of real refreshment that takes the heat out of shaving.
Building, blocks of time passing by, biographies of unforgettable characteristics and stones bouncing off a backbone buried deep in your own backyard. Why? Because I am.
Although man is composed of over 90% water, he doesn't have to feel wet. For effective, long-lasting protection against wetness and odor, use Arid Extra Dry Antiperspirant for Men. Dryness designed for men.
Welcome back to our coverage of the New England 200 here on TSN. Bill, Adam, they talk about cars being loose. Can't they set them up a little tighter before the race and then let them loosen progressively?
Well, the difficulty, Vic, is that the cars will change as the temperature changes. And a car that may handle perfectly in 70-degree weather, when it goes up to 74, 76, it will handle sometimes substantially different. What you want to do is to get a very slight push into a car that is a little bit of understeer, the front wheel sliding, on an oval. You do not want a car to be loose, so I'm sure they're all nervous under those conditions.
Super. Andre Ribeiro, the leader of the race by 11.3 seconds over Michael Andretti. Al Unser Jr. is 3rd, then Jimmy Vasser, then Jacques Villeneuve. In 6th now is Emerson Fittipaldi, then Christian Fittipaldi, Gilles de Ferran, Teo Fabi, and Robbie Gordon. Let's go down to Gary Gerald.
In 7 of the last 8 races, Adrian Fernandez was the top 10 finisher. Today it lasted less than a lap. First of all, you appear to be all right. Is that the case?
Yeah, we're fine. It's we're really disappointed about what happened. We don't know exactly what happened. I just lost it. Coming out was really slow, and I just put the power and the car snapped over. And it's different from the accident I have in practice, but it's a shame for the guys. The Gallus team has been doing a great job, and my sponsors, they got the quicker state, but you know, it's sometimes things happen, and we just have to learn to live with this. I mean, it's not a good weekend for us. We just have to forget about it.
Thanks so much, Adrian. Glad you're all right.
Thank you.
Boy, and while they were talking, you got an idea of why, as a leader, you can be sailing along, have all the speed, all the handling. Did you see him lock that front?
Well, that was a bit too close for comfort. If Steve Horn sees this on the monitor, he will tell Ribeiro, back off a little bit. Watch this down inside de Ferran. Watch the front wheels.
Boy, smoke just poured off the fronts there. She locks the brakes. trying to get down inside Greco, who apparently didn't see him running in front of DeFerrin. Michael Andretti, second place. Jan Bikas, you've been watching, Andre.
That's right. We talked about the braking problem that he had. They feel as though the brakes are getting too hot. But also, Steve Horn radioed to him and said that when we took the Firestone tires off, that the right front tire was pretty well hammered. In other words, telling him to take a little bit easy on it, make sure he doesn't wear it out for the end of the race.
Here's the pit summary once again, in and out. Penske team did some work for Unser Jr.
See, Team Green there did a great job for Villeneuve. The fastest of those pit stops gained him a position back on board. Robbie Gordon, Emerson Fittipaldi gained 2 positions, 8th all the way up to 6th. But Robbie Gordon has a struggle on his hands today trying to manhandle this Valvoline Reynard. When it goes loose, you have to work all you can to get the best out of it. But sometimes all the changes you make, you still can't make headway.
Gordon currently runs in 10th. Leader is Ribeiro, then Michael. Here's third place, Al Unser Jr., just crossing the line. And once again, if he stays in position and nothing changes, we're going to be celebrating our first IndyCar champion here in New England. In fact, close enough to Canada. A lot of Canadian fans down here anticipating just that. A lot of Quebec license plates.
Good look here at Al Jr. People might ask, why do Penske struggle so much this year? Do you realize that in almost every single race this year, Penske cars are going faster than they did last year when they dominated so many races? But this particular car this year, they're having a tremendous amount of difficulty getting the balance right. Grant Newbury, their engineer, told me today they believe it's a mechanical imbalance somewhere in this car that hampers Al Jr. and Emerson, and they can't quite put their finger on the problem.
Update on Little Al, Jan Bigas.
Well, from the handling side, we checked with the crew, and they said the car went a little bit loose in the mid-portion of the race. But then he came in, made his final pit stop. At least they hope their final pit stop did not change the car. They're hoping just fresh tires will bring the car back to a balance for Al Jr.
Running order after 143. Mauricio Guzman, he stayed out. There he is, 84 laps between pit stops.
He had a great expression after Friday when he had difficulties with the car. He said, obviously you can see we are out of the lunch today, but tonight we'll work on the car and make things better.
Ah, you foreign guys. Of course, you know, all year they've been trying to Americanize him, named him Big Mo. So at the front of the field, the 9-second lead, Michael Andretti beginning to move in as Andre Ribeiro. Andretti is second, then Junior, then Vassar, then Villeneuve.
For drivers like Jacques Villeneuve, the morning becomes electric. Because there's a black asphalt battlefield ahead, where legends like Andretti, Unser, and Fittipaldi are waiting, and where a legend in the making is waiting for them. Players Limited's leadership in Canadian motor racing continues as it sponsors 1994 IndyCar Rookie of the Year, Jacques Villeneuve, and the Players Limited racing team in the PPG IndyCar World Series. The ultimate test of man and machine. Players Limited, a tradition of excellence.
Welcome back to our coverage of the New England 200 as you look at Jacques Villeneuve currently running in 5th place, and that would be enough if things didn't change to give him the IndyCar Drivers' Championship. Bill Adam, is there any excitement in the Players Limited pit?
No, almost typical of Barry Green, all the guys. They're just simply doing their jobs, and you would think it was a race that had no importance whatsoever. Everybody is very, very cool and calm, and they're just methodically waiting the next pit stop.
It is remarkable, though, how a race can change. I mean, Villeneuve struggled the entire weekend with setup, and he's only qualified in 15th position. But there he is, now in 5th, and he could win the title today.
Floating over New Hampshire International, Anheuser-Busch's aerial ambassador, the Bud 1 blimp. It travels to sporting events all across the country, providing beauty shots, and in the case of auto racing, some shots that can tell you intervals, what's going on, and how the crashes occurred. Ribeiro out in front. Michael Andretti second, then Unser Jr., then Jimmy Vasser, Jack Villeneuve. Nothing has changed while we've been away. And Jack Villeneuve, you see him there, the 27 car pulling up just behind Robbie Gordon. He is in a position to walk away from this race as the IndyCar champion. The New England 200. We're at now lap 152. And there's the running order of the top 6. But the question that I would have, Ribeiro sits 10 seconds ahead of Michael Andretti. Gary Gerald, he's going to really be going a long way on the fuel tank that he has now. Can he make it to the end?
We're just talking with the crew, Paul. This is the 200, New England 200, but that's a little misleading because remember this track is a little more than a mile long, 1.058 to be specific. Consequently, the race distance 211 miles, and further of consequence, the pit windows have been narrowed for a 2-stop race. Andre Ribeiro pitted on lap 121. He'd have to go 79 laps, and if it stays green all the way, there's a concern over fuel. So they've gone slightly to a fuel conservation mode. They would really like to have a yellow to take away any of that suspense.
Jimmy Vasser runs in 5th, but Emerson Fittipaldi just got past him, and Vasser's beginning to fall backwards, so perhaps Vasser has a problem here. Running an average speed of 129.7 miles an hour. We have had 2 caution periods, one for Fernandez, one for Scott Pruitt. You've already heard from Fernandez. Scott Pruitt is okay as well. Hopefully we'll be hearing from him shortly. But the record here is Bobby Rahal, set back in 1992 at 133.6, so at 129, we're beginning to close in on it.
On board with Gordon, we watched out the window 2 laps earlier when Vasser got himself into all sorts of trouble on the way into turn 3, went right up beside the wall, backed off, lost several positions, not from cars who were passing him for position, but from lap cars. Now he gathers it up again. Gordon play with the throttles on, off, on, off. That tells you he's trying to balance it. If the car handled well, he would get on in one long, smooth application of power, and that's always the indication of a confident driver that doesn't expect anything unusual to happen.
Back to the pits, Gary Gerald.
Paul, for all of these drivers late in the race, if you get outside the groove, you get up into the gray, you pick up all of that loose rubber that's come off tires through the preceding laps. Drivers in the drivers meeting yesterday, several of them, including Robbie Gordon, Paul Tracy, very concerned about that because with the tire battle between Goodyear and Firestone, compounds have gotten softer, tires throw more debris up, and you get off the line, it costs you. That was the problem for Jimmy Vasser just moments ago. He got in the gray, he picked up a lot of excess rubber, having a hard time scraping it off. It's impacted the handling of the car.
Watching Jimmy Vasser, car 12's fallen back to 6th now. Guzman just ahead of him, but Guzman, of course, running down in 14th, one of the lap cars. Right behind Vasser is Gordon. Emerson Fittipaldi, there he is, Jan Beekes.
Well, we checked with the Penske crew, and it turns out that Emerson Fittipaldi's race setup has been just about perfect. They haven't changed the car all day, and right now the Penske team is trying to get up from 1 lap down. They're actually radioing to Al Unser Jr., giving him intervals, and they're going to try very, very hard here in the closing stages to catch Andre Ribeiro and get back on the lead lap.
Ribeiro still leads. The pole sitter, is he going to go on to a victory with 38 laps to go? Fuel will be part of it. Michael Andretti is second, 16 seconds back.
The unusual combination of this season, a rookie driver, he was here last year on the Indy Lights Series. He wasn't a winner, but a rookie driver in a Reynard car with a Honda engine and Firestone tires, something that has never proven itself in the past to be successful. And Steve Horn has put this package together. And what a superb job this team has done. A new team back in IndyCar racing. Of course, Steve Horn, a lot of you will know him from his days at True Sports, and he was so successful with Bobby Rahal. And again, next year, he wants to run a Indy Lights team as well as an IndyCar team.
On board with Bobby Rahal, sits in 12th place. Guy who came in here with a chance at the championship. It seems to be going away now. Championship is right now firmly in the grasp of Jack Villeneuve.
Different to Robbie Gordon's. Listen to the power application. Likes one long, smooth application. Doesn't hit it hard enough early enough, though.
Of a championship. Team Green, Gary Geralder, are they starting to see a possibility?
I think they refuse to think about that. As you know, Barry Green, Kim Green, Tony Sicali, the entire crew down here, they are so good at staying focused and keeping their driver and team members focused. That's what they're doing right now. He says that Jack is telling him that the car is good. It's not great. It's very, very slippery out there, and the slightest miscue that gets you off the primary groove can be disastrous. But as far as fuel and everything else, they're right on target. They like the way they've been moving consistently up. I think they'd be delighted. Well, we know they'd be delighted if they could get this thing over right now with 2 races to go, but they just don't really want to talk about that particular aspect. They're just trying to do the best job they can at the moment in these remaining 32 laps.
Well, the possibility seems very real at the moment. Andre Ribeiro, Michael Andretti, 2 cars on the lead lap. Andretti 12 seconds back, trying to close on Andre Ribeiro. Fuel may help decide this.
I've got gigabytes, I've got megabytes. I'm voicemailed, I'm emailed, I surf the net, I'm on the web. I am Cyberman. So how come I feel so out of touch?
Are you free? Are you really free? Are you really free?
On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. Freedom. Independent. What it is, it is.
TSN's coverage of the New England 200 continues as we look at Teo Fabi and his car for Jerry Forsyth Racing. Started outside the first row, but has fallen back ever since then. Bill, Adam, let's talk a little bit about Paul Tracy. And would you agree with me, one of the reasons Roger Penske wants Paul Tracy back next year is because of his testing ability, and he lost that this year?
No, without question, Vic, that's exactly why Penske does want him back. When I left the race at Cleveland, I had a most interesting conversation with Tony Cicali, the aerodynamicist for Team Green here. And Tony was saying that Paul's ability to test different setups is invaluable. The experienced 2 drivers Penske has in Fittipaldi and Unser Jr., because of their experience, they are both very reluctant to try anything new. So Paul is needed.
Al Unser Jr. is 3rd, then Jack Villeneuve. Emerson Fittipaldi runs in 4th place. We'll give you a relationship here now. There is the leader of the race, looking back for Michael Andretti as the leader flashes across the line, completing 173 laps. And looking for Ribeiro. Miss him? There's Michael. There's Michael. 15.7 seconds behind Andre Ribeiro.
To give you an idea, Paul, of the difference in lap speeds, Andre Ribeiro was 3 miles an hour faster on the last lap than Michael Andretti. So he has this race well under control as long as he has enough fuel in that Honda car to go all the way to the checker flag.
So 25 laps, a little over 25 miles to go. Michael Andretti still trying to run Andre Ribeiro down while Ribeiro is looking for his first ever win in the IndyCars. We'll be back for the...
For drivers like Jacques Villeneuve, the morning becomes electric. Because there's a black asphalt battlefield ahead, where legends like Andretti, Unser, and Fittipaldi are waiting, and where a legend in the making is waiting for them. Players Limited's leadership in Canadian motor racing continues as it sponsors 1994 IndyCar Rookie of the Year, Jacques Villeneuve, and the Players Limited Racing Team in the PPG IndyCar World Series. The ultimate test of man and machine. Players Limited, a tradition of excellence.
Today's cars and trucks are more advanced than ever, but there is a price. Their harder working engines can wreak havoc on a motor oil, breaking it down almost immediately. That's why Castrol GTX provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol, or your harder working engine could make things hard on you. Castrol GTX, engineered for greater protection against breakdown.
Look for Castrol GTX at these and other leading outlets.
We're heading towards the finish of the New England 200. Andre Ribeiro, the pole sitter, currently leading Michael Andretti, the only two cars on the lead lap. Interesting to note that Ribeiro would become only the third driver to win from the pole this year. Robbie Gordon won in Detroit, while Jacques Villeneuve started on the pole and won at Road America. But more importantly, for Jacques Villeneuve, currently running fifth, he looks like he's on his way to the Indy Drivers' Championship. Back to New England.
Back keeping an eye on Andre Ribeiro. We just ran a check of everybody up and down the pits. And the key players at the front, Andre, Michael, well, they don't seem to have any problem whatsoever with fuel. Not so sure the same situation is true at Penske Racing. Al Unser Jr. runs in third place right now. He's 57 laps since his last stop. And Jacques Villeneuve now sits in fourth place. And one factor that is going to affect the overall outcome of a championship and a possible wrap of it here today, as we suggested at the starting of the show, is where that appeal with Al Unser Jr. over his win at Portland. Remember, he was disqualified and the win given to Jimmy Vasser. Well, if Al wins that appeal, then he'll come out of this race only 34 points behind Jack, and so the championship not yet determined, and that's based on little Al's position right now. So the championship can go on, and the appeal, well, it'll be some time yet before it will be heard. They're still putting the panel of 3 appeals judges together. $17 to go for the Brazilian. Studied law for a while. Andre Ribeiro. Honda Power, Firestone tires. Tasman looking for their first victory. Steve Horn, who was so prominent in bringing Bobby Rahal to championships, stepped away from the IndyCars for a while, got his feet under him as his own owner, had success in Indy Lights, now back up to the IndyCars. And look at the results.
Went to Europe, Paul, to do the British Formula 3 Championship with limited success. But he came up through the Indy Light Series. That's a good shot of his team manager, team owner, Steve Horn, on the radio to his young rookie, who is learning so much this afternoon, leading this race in style. The only thing he came here with was the Rookie of the Year honors from last year. What a superb job he's showing today.
You got a view of him at the start. The senior senator from Indiana, Dick Lugar, former mayor of Indianapolis, big racing fan. Got to do something I've always wanted to do, watch from a starting stand at the start of the race. Has joined us up in the booth, watching up here as we continue to watch Andre Ribeiro and Michael Andretti, as Michael's still trying to reel him in, but it's not happening.
Lap for lap as they get into traffic. Ribeiro goes faster, then Michael will match the speed, then suddenly Ribeiro pulls away again. But at the moment, we can only presume that Ribeiro is beginning to take things easy. We saw him shoot round the outside of Michael earlier in a very dangerous looking move, got away with it. We saw him lock his brakes inside Gugelmin. He got away with that. Sometimes you don't always get away with it 3 times. So he just needs to take things easy, because he has all the tools this afternoon to win this New England 200.
Nothing changes down through the order, though Fittipaldi is now beginning to close in a bit on Villeneuve. There you see Fittipaldi as the leader starting to close in. Fittipaldi just ahead of him, and the blue and white car of Villeneuve just ahead of that.
The only thing that could change things, Paul, is a yellow flag. That would give Michael another opportunity, possibly to pounce. However, the traffic would not help him then, because the leaders, we presume, would be at the head of the field. But one impressive thing, Paul, was how this Firestone car could duck down to the inside and get grip on that low line and speed, as opposed to his opposition.
Oh, the pass he made on Michael, that was spectacular when he just darted to the inside. You wouldn't think the car would stick under those kind of lateral G-forces. Boy, it sure did.
Started first, currently first. What a piece of videotape that will be when he gets to look at this race. We, of course, thought that Firestone must be under pressure to win here. Al Spire, their racing team manager, will tell you no. They set a disciplined, conservative program for this season, and they have outshone their expectations. And the results that they got at Michigan, and they almost won the Indy 500. Now they're in command here. That is further down the road than they ever expected to be at this stage of their return season.
And Ribeiro now running at a record pace. The record pace 133.6 set by Rahal, and now Ribeiro with 8 laps to go at 134.085. 22 of the 26 starters still running, Jan Beekes.
Checking in with Al Unser Jr., of course, this has huge championship implications. Al Unser Jr. in his Penske machine feels as though they're very, very tight on fuel. Originally, he was trying to chase down Andre Ribeiro to get the lap back. Now, he's really slowed off the pace, just trying to conserve fuel. Now, if anything happens, of course, that throws a whole wrench into the championship scenario.
A concern to all of us here today, normally in the booth, our scorer throughout all of these IndyCar races is Fran Leonard. He's rushed out of the track here yesterday. His son Chad, who is quite an avid and successful go-kart racer, was injured in an accident yesterday in Michigan. He's in the hospital intensive care unit. We have a more promising report now that he's improving, but our best wishes and prayers go out for Chad. 6 to go. Ribeiro leads. Michael's closed a little bit, now 14.2 seconds. Michael closing, Ribeiro taking it easy. What do you think?
Ribeiro controlling the race. I still believe, from what we can see in the lines he can take, he has the power and the speed to challenge, even if Michael manages to get close enough. He is still almost half a lap behind Andre Ribeiro, and the traffic at the moment is beginning to fall Ribeiro's way.
Michael on the backside. 4 to go.
Notice the distinctive front wing on this Lola. They have tried 3 different front wings, 3 different rear wings on this car, trying to get the understeer, which is very prevalent during qualifying in particular, out of this Newman-Haas Lola. They have yet to put their finger on the problem, and that's why Paul Tracy believes in race conditions on these over there are always better than they are when they try and qualify.
Ford Cosworth power there in Michael's car, but we're looking at the potential of history being made up in the front. Honda Power looking at their potential first IndyCar win. Remember, so very close at Indy with Scott Goodyear. Now 3 to go for Honda. Andre Ribeiro and Tasman first for everybody there.
You mentioned Honda Power. Will the Newman Haas cars be powered by Honda engines next year? There have been meetings, there have been discussions, and Carl Haas knows a good engine when he sees one. We've got a crash. Buddy Lazier.
Lazier catches the wall, turn 4. And will they get it cleaned in time? Marco Greco down on the inside. Now Steve Horn talks to Ribeiro as the white flag will come out, so that won't change anything. Ribeiro will see the white flag, and unfortunately, he'll see the checkered flag under yellow. His first win will come under a yellow, but still a well-deserved victory. As Ribeiro now taking a look at the white flag as he gets through the accident zone and down the front stretch.
There are 2 cars involved. Buddy Lazier is one of them. He made hard contact with the outside wall. That's in Dale Coyne's car. There is also one of the Pac West cars involved in that, I believe. Is it Gugelmin?
Now Gugelmin appears to be in the line, as does Fangio. Greco is the one that we thought. There's the checkered flag. Checkered flag for Andre Ribeiro, for Honda, for Tasman. Great victory here today, right from the pole. Ribeiro takes the victory as the yellow comes out on the final lap. And Andre Ribeiro has taken the victory. Oh, what a nice win. Let's go to Gary Gerald.
Steve and Christine Horn, I know the emotion must be huge at this moment. What are the feelings?
Well, we've had a couple of get away from us this year at Indy and at Michigan, and I think this is a great credit to Andre. Drove a fantastic job, and I just got to say a very special thanks to Honda in particular and to Firestone for giving us the product. Guys on the team never gave up.
So many people were skeptical. They said a rookie had no chance on a bull ring like this to win. Did you give him much of a chance?
I gave him a lot of chance because he did a great job in lights, and this is the next step for him, and this is great.
Well, get out there and enjoy it. They'll come off the wall, and we'll head with the crew as we get down there to get a word with Andre Ribeiro.
Do you think, Paul, he knows where Victory Circle is?
I think we'll have plenty of people down there to point him to it. And boy, is he a happy guy, too. This will be a popular victory, too. He's so well-spoken, enjoys life, enjoys racing so much. Yeah, Buddy Lazier, he's out of the car. He's obviously okay. We'll check on Marco Greco, too. Down on the inside, he looked to be all right.
Look at this. I love to see this celebrations when a rookie driver gets to take his first win in unusual circumstances, because it really was the unexpected, but that gives Firestone 2 wins in the last 3 races.
Third win from the pole this year. Gordon, Detroit, Villeneuve at Elkhart Lake. Let's go to Gary.
Well, it's chaos, as you might well expect. We're trying to get, here's Andre right here. He sits down on the side pod. Christine Horn has just gotten here. And we'll try to get that helmet off, and and we'll hear the first words that come out of this young Brazilian's mouth. I don't know. I think it might be a howl or a scream of delight or something, but Andre, he gets the breathe right strip off the nose, the earplugs. What's the emotion of this moment, young man? So many people said there's no way a rookie can win at this racetrack. You've just done it, and you've done it convincingly.
Well, I can't believe this is the greatest moment in my life. It's incredible. It's incredible.
What were your concerns when this day started? What were you trying to remember as the key that might get you to this moment?
To be patient, very, very, very patient. I was talking with Steve Horn all the time on the radio. They were keeping me cool, but I tell you, the last laps were difficult. It's great. Great.
How tough was it with the last lap when you saw the yellow? There was an incident there. Was that the realization then, this thing is won? You knew that it was only a lap or 2 to go?
Well, I really tried to wait for the last lap, really the checkered flag, because I knew the race only would finish on the checkered flag, but it's an incredible moment. It's great.
He's got the Brazilian flag in his hand. He wipes away the tears. He displays it. We now have 9 different winners this season, Paul.
So Andre Ribeiro takes the victory here over Michael Andretti. The championship still goes on while we wait the results of an appeal and, of course, the actions of Al Unser Jr. on the race course. There's still plenty to talk about here in the New England 200, but congratulations. There's the unofficial results. Andre Ribeiro on his first win.
straight away down in the pit of your gut. Wrenching, squealing tires, smoking from start to finish. Gonna be there? Because I know.
Dear Dave, when I saw Wendy's had a new smoky bacon cheeseburger, I said something about that sounds good to me, so I got them for everyone. It's delicious. Some guys especially like the 3 strips of hickory smoked bacon, some that processed smoked cheddar, and we all agreed that when you put that on a 1/4 pound of fresh ground beef, that was some sandwich. Dave, come on by. We'll let you wear a big hat and ring the bell.
Dear Jerry, thanks. Is Tuesday okay?
Try Wendy's new smoky bacon cheeseburger.
Well, so the celebration very definitely underway for Andre Ribeiro. What about second place, Jan Vikas, Michael Andretti?
Well, of course, Michael Andretti normally would be pretty excited about running second place and running a competitive race, but where did Andre have the speed on you? Was it the tires? Was it the Honda power plant? Where do you think he pulled out the distance?
I think he had, I think Firestone did a pretty good job this weekend with their tire, and he had a lot of grip, especially in traffic, and, you know, my car was quite good, actually. I was pretty happy with it, but, you know, that was a difference, I think.
Now tell us about the championship. This pretty much eliminates you from a championship hunt to go to the front with Jacques finishing 4th, but still some good exciting racing to come.
Oh yeah, no question about it. I mean, we'll just try to finish on a high note and get him next year. You know, we still want to go after second place, and you know, that's still gettable.
We enjoyed watching you today. Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's go to Gary Gerald.
Well, here's Al Unser Jr. from 17th to finish 3rd. That itself is pretty remarkable around this place. But the thing that we want to ask you about is your impressions that relate to the championship, because the appeal leaves everything up in the air. If you win that appeal, you're still mathematically alive.
Yeah, we just, you know, we just don't know. It's something that I just want to congratulate Ribeiro. He did a great job all day long, and you know, the Honda ran great for him, but my whole Marlboro team, Penske, did a super job. My guys, they got me in and out of the pit so quick. We passed like about 5 or 6 guys on that first stop, and so you know, without them, it was really great. And I just, you know, want to say hi to Al, Cody, and Shannon at home, and we'll be home later on.
As you congratulate Andre Ribeiro, did you think coming into this weekend that a rookie could win a race in this bull ring?
Well, I tell you what, the PPG IndyCar World Series is so competitive this year that just about any of the top 15 can win the race, and so a rookie here, you know, you kind of think not, but their whole team did a great job, and they deserve the win.
And you did a great job coming from 17th. Congratulations on this 3rd place finish.
Thanks, Gary.
Paul?
So still plenty else to take a look at. Look at the partisan crowd for Brazil and this Brazilian win. I'll tell you, the flags came out here at the start-finish line. Look at that. They love their racing, and they love this victory. So here in Loudon at New Hampshire International, a first-time win, a run from the pole for the victory for Andre Ribeiro. Still more to talk about, more to do here as the championship fight, in fact, does continue. We'll be back.
Hi, John Reese from Dunwoody, Georgia writes, I love Snapple. I want to know if you have a mascot, and if not, could I be it? All right.
If he wants to be a mascot, he has to train hard, he has to be physical. Just wearing a costume is a lot of work because the head might be too heavy. You have to have an attitude to be successful, to be great. You have to have an attitude to be a mascot. We're proud of you, John.
Thanks. From the trusted family of Grimeter products who brought you laundry aids and waterless hand cleaners comes a technological breakthrough in car wax. The new Grimeter waterless car wash and wax. Just spray on and wipe off for a showroom finish in less than 20 minutes. Use it safely 12 months a year, anytime, anywhere. The new Grimeter waterless car wash and wax. Available exclusively at Canadian Tire.
Although man is composed of over 90% water, he doesn't have to feel wet. For effective, long-lasting protection against wetness and odor, use Arid Extra Dry Antiperspirant for Men. Dryness designed for men.
Well, it was so exciting from above. Now below, it's quiet on this bull ring at New Hampshire International. International, and history has been made. That young man, Andre Ribeiro, has taken the victory. The championship fight, well, it goes on, Gary Gerald.
And here's the man who's involved in it, of course, the smile on his face, a tough day's work. Your worst qualifying effort of the year, Jacques, starting 15th. You end up 4th, and you take a huge, huge step now to clinching the championship. So I would think you and this team have got to be very proud.
Oh, we're very happy. You know, it was a great effort from everybody in Team Green, starting where we were. It wasn't looking great for the race, but we knew we'd have to go in there and be aggressive. And on the first set of tires, after 10-15 laps, the rear started to slide quite a lot, but we're always running in the gearbox of someone, so we're using the tires a lot. But after that, we made a few changes, and the car was really strong for the end of the race.
We were just talking with Al Unser Jr. about his title hopes, and of course it all hinges on the appeal that is still pending. How much does that appeal enter into your thinking and the thinking of Team Green?
Well, in a way, it's annoying to think that, you know, points can be given back, and then that would change the whole championship. You know, that thing happened a long time ago, and it's funny that you know, it might still change. But if it changes, you know, mathematically, it's still possible that Al gets it. So we're not going to stop fighting till the end.
Well, congratulations on your drive today, and thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Paul.
So Jacques Villeneuve, as he continues his battle in the championship, again, the unofficial results, we'll look through the full order for you, but there was no question about that victory by Ribeiro. He was well ahead, 14.48 seconds, the margin of victory, down through Jimmy Vasser, as we'll take a look at all of the unofficial results, and then we'll take a look at the points for you after we get done looking here. And the points fight now affected by that appeal hearing for Al Unser Jr.'s performance at Portland. And that will be heard by 3 judges. So when we take a look at the points here, 168 to 114, but the key is down there with Al Unser Jr., because if he picks up some more points, he jumps up to 132 if they give him his win back. So that's what we're watching and what we're waiting to see. When we come back, we'll take a look at some highlights of the day here in the New England 200, one that saw history made for Ribeiro and Honda.
Fittipaldi, Unser and Tracy, Villeneuve. Players Limited continues its leadership in Canadian motor racing by sponsoring Road America 200 winner Jacques Villeneuve and the Players Limited racing team in the PPG Indycar World Series, the ultimate test of man and machine. Players Limited, a tradition of excellence.
Freedom. Independent. What it is, it is.
Yeah, I took the high endurance challenge from Old Spice because I didn't really think it could work better than my old deodorant. But it does. It evaporates less quickly, it also lasts longer, protects better against odor. Now you got proof. Guaranteed.
Today's race is brought to you by Molson Canadian.
Welcome back to TSN Race Control. What a day for Andre Ribeiro, the pole sitter. Wins the New England 200, first win for Honda in IndyCar racing. A remarkable performance considering all the difficulty they had a year ago when they powered Bobby Rahal. And just the second win for Firestone Tires, their earlier win coming with Scott Pruitt at the Michigan 500. And, you know, wild celebration for Ribeiro, understandably, but muted celebration, I think, for Jacques Villeneuve. Starting 15th, finishes 4th, looks to have enough points to win the championship. and then take it to Formula One, but of course it all is pending that appeal by Al Unser Jr. So the race continues as they head to Vancouver. Next time we will talk with you about IndyCar racing will be from Laguna Seca. We'll have an IndyCar pre-race special for you on Sunday the 10th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And then, of course, we'll have the race itself, the final event of the IndyCar season at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on the 10th. Formula One racing continues with the Grand Prix of Belgium Sunday morning, August 27th, a pre-race show at 7:30 a.m. Hey, Schumacher's lead is down to just 11. Now, over Damon Hill. Till we talk with you again, goodbye from Race Control.
This is TSN.